The Mangalorian is on the air. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Welcome. It's the series where myself and Jordan go back and look at the Dragon Ball manga, but we have, as of, well, a while ago, done the original 42 volumes of the manga. Now we're doing Dragon Ball Super, and we are right smack dab in the middle of the Moro arc, the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga, which is going to be animated very, very soon. So
Yeah.
the battle has started on planet Namek, and away we go. It's the first time we've actually seen New Namek become a battleground outside of the second Cooler movie. So, Jordan, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I was just noticing how much gray hair I have right now because of this black background and my black shirt. And I was looking in the webcam. I was like, oh my God, man, I've got so much silver in there now. It's crazy.
I've got a couple here and there. Not quite like Goku, but I've got a couple here and there. This is my favorite. I didn't know we were starting Super. Well, you didn't know we were starting. We're on volume 11, bro. This is volume 11. We started Super 11 streams ago.
Yep.
That's on you. But he says that this is his favorite arc. I know it's been years, Jordan, but is this your favorite arc of the Super era? Yours?
I would say so. I think, to me, it's like this arc and Granola are like neck and neck. The thing is like with the manga being promotional prior to this arc, and Toyotaro being limited to, making the volumes relatively small and trying to pack so much action into such a compact product. Whenever Dragon Ball Super is such an expansive product, I don't really feel like Toyotaro had the opportunity to really like flex his ability to actually communicate a Dragon Ball arc until this arc because he was constantly adapting other people's work and he was basically just a promo worker for the anime. So this is the first arc that we really get to see Toyotaro try to do a full-on Dragon Ball arc using the experience that he had, with the prior Dragon Ball Super arcs, where he's kind of feeling his way around and trying to figure out how to do his job correctly. He really got to like take his experience and put it to good use in this arc. But yeah, it was just to me, it's interesting because Toriyama is involved, of course, but also, um, it reminds me of like the creative decisions and flavors that used to be put in the old Dragon Ball era to kind of spice things up and change things up. Because like almost all of the arcs prior to this arc, in Dragon Ball Super, not that they weren't interesting or cool, but it was sticking to a very it was a pattern, it was a format, and we didn't have a villain like this, like Moro in Dragon Ball Super, that felt like a villain from Dragon Ball Z. Ever like Goku was just constantly like making friends with everybody he was fighting in Dragon Ball Super prior,
Except
or
for Black.
right, except for Black, and with Black, he is a copy of Goku. So there's like it's just not the same. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool on its face, but that arc is always going to be dedicated to that concept, like the concept of an evil Goku. Which, not to say that it's not unique, but that's what it is. It's like an evil Goku. But like with Moro,
Literally.
this is completely new territory. We never had like a planet eater like this. We never had somebody who used magic like this. We never had somebody who was themed around the Galactic Patrol and Jocko the way Moro is in terms of like his themes as a villain. There's just a lot of like really cool stuff that I appreciate about this arc in comparison to a lot of the other stuff in Super. And it sucks because honestly, once this arc hit in the OG era, it made me so much more excited for like the future of Dragon Ball and what they could do, with future arcs and stuff like that. And really, all we got after this was, the adaptation of Dragon Ball Super Superhero and then the Granola arc. And I feel like it could have went like if they kept like trying to if they kept the creative juices flowing and kept trying to push the product like they did during this era, I feel like Dragon Ball Super would have been something like really great. And it kind of feels like the product got hindered um, after this and the Granola arc, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it more this time than I did when it was running. We say this almost every stream, but a lot of people have said that Super's better if you binge it, and I'm starting to notice that now. It's definitely a little bit easier when you binge it. So there's truth to that. Let's put the comments up. All right, we are on volume 11. I love the Goku eating the burger, Jocko's burger. I love this cover art from Toyotaro. We're in for some pretty interesting fights
I like
here.
that Bardock frame.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do a shameless plug real quick. I'm actually doing a manga that I haven't talked about on here before with another artist called Zarbsy. That's about Bardock going to
I
his
know
first planet.
Zarbsby.
Yeah, I'm doing another new manga. You can find it on my Twitter account. It's about Bardock's first planet as a kid. It's about like the first planet that Bardock gets sent to as a kid.
Are we
Like,
gonna see Goku's biological grandfather?
no, I do not. I do not show any of that. I only show literally the story opens up with Bardock landing on the planet he was sent to in the pod, and he lands on the Universe 7 equivalent of Planet Barbary. So if you guys
Interesting.
want to go check that out, it's on my Twitter account.
That is very interesting. I didn't even know you were doing that, so that's good to
Yeah.
know. New manga, not just Kako Daimon, but interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon Ball Super, Chapter 49, Outer Space Battle. We are in for some really interesting stuff. This manga chapter. Moro is back and he's getting stronger and stronger. Moro is literally right now, as we speak, absorbing planet New Namek. Like literally as we speak, we see Moro absorbing it, eating it. There he is in
Yeah.
space. He wished to be younger. He's now got his power.
I really like this little Namekian character that survived because like he was essentially like being like prepped to be the replacement
For Mori?
Elder Namek, if all of and he just so happened to be the one survived, and I think that's really cool. Like he is kind of supposed to be a representation of like the ideas of the Namekians surviving this whole situation, because that's what he says right here. He says that that they entrusted him with the fate of his people, and that it's his responsibility to survive, to basically continue to push the ideas of the original Namekians and things of that nature. Another really cool thing about this is this just goes to show how ridiculous Moro is when he has like his full magic capabilities. Like we saw like Moro like slowly siphoning Goku and Vegeta in the last chapter, and now he's just straight up sucking up all life energy from space and making a giant ball, which is cool.
Yeah, and having him do it like and literally see the planet get slowly wiped is crazy. So Goku, Vegeta, and the Grand Supreme Kai. We
I
saw.
really like that panel, dude, right there with Vegeta and the Grand Priest and Vegeta. That's like one of
You mean
I love-
the Grand Supreme Kai?
or yeah, the Grand Supreme Kai,
Yeah, the
Goku
Dai
and Vegeta.
Kaioshin.
Yeah, I really like that top left panel. That might be. I remember seeing that panel in color and thinking it, or in black and white and thinking it was cool, but it really looks cool in color.
Yep, they're all going after Moro, trying to stop him from swallowing up the energy of planet New Namek, and they're fighting in space. At this point, that question of whether or not Saiyans can breathe in space, this is no longer in the atmosphere. They're in space at this point.
Well, they're
there's-
not in the vacuum of space. They're in the
but they're
stratosphere.
they're right in space. I mean, what? How much farther would the vacuum be?
It would be quite a bit further scientifically. It would shock you, like how much space looks like space before you leave the stratosphere. Like it's. But you'll see here in a minute. Vegeta even says, because Goku starts to go farther off into space, and he's like, "You can't do that, dude. We're gonna die." So, you know.
Okay. I don't remember that, but we'll get there. So the battle's continuing here, and while they're trying to attack him, he's still absorbing the energy. He still has complete magic control of what he's doing. And then this is what you were talking about right here.
Yeah.
That's outer space. Saiyans can't survive in the vacuum of space. So you're saying that the stratosphere goes even beyond just the planet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the stratosphere is basically it's almost unseeable to the naked eye. So if you were flying around in the stratosphere, it would basically look like you were flying around in space, because it's such a thin layer in comparison to the atmosphere and all the other gases surrounding the Earth. So it still kind of would basically look like you were fighting in space. So.
And I like how he can't go out there, but Dai Kaioshin can. So now we have Dai Kaioshin volunteering to battle Moro, and here we go. So Dai Kaioshin and Moro have their rematch. Again, I've said this a lot, but Dragon Ball Super has become the Goku and Vegeta show. It really has. And seeing other characters fight, like the Dai Kaioshin, other characters step up and actually like do something, I think is great. It's great to see that it's not just Goku and Vegeta doing all the fighting. Like, that does kind of get boring after a while. And Dai Kaioshin is somebody we've really rarely ever seen fight. There was that filler episode in Dragon Ball Z where Majin Buu absorbed him, and they had that whole backstory. But besides that, and that was anime only, we have not seen this guy.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw the Grand Supreme Kai Cube Buu, like in the anime filler episode where him and Buu like actually fight. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that.
Do you remember the attack that he uses though?
No, not the attack. Which attack? What are you talking about specifically?
Like, he does this thing where he like puts his hand up like this, and then he just looks at Buu, and then Buu splits down into cubes. Like, he literally like cubes him. Like, it's almost like he like cut him into slices with his ki. It was actually really brutal. Like, if you go back and watch it in the anime, like it's if he would have done that to somebody besides Buu, they would just have been cubed meat, like falling to the ground everywhere. But yeah, ever since I saw that, like him do that to Buu, like back in the day, I've always been really interested in the Grand Supreme Kai.
And that's anime only. That wasn't even from Toriyama's mind. Yeah. So they start doing battle or whatever. Goku's and Vegeta have lost track of the fight because they're far away. Apparently Namek's no longer losing energy because Moro's being distracted by the Daikaio. Yeah. Daikaio comes in. I really like the way this looks. I'm really excited to see how this is going to look in the anime version.
Yes.
With the space and the purple and yellow. That's going to be a hell of a visual, I hope.
Me too, yeah.
I hope they get the good team on it.
I think if you just look at the manga, because obviously, here's something to consider with the Galactic Patrol show that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time since friggin' forever that Dragon Ball is adapting a manga into animated format. Like, right. So there's so much potential there, like in terms of like looking at the visuals within the manga and adapting them in cool and interesting ways.
Jordan's frozen. Is Jordan frozen for anybody else? Can you guys still see me?
You dropped out for just a second there.
No, I thought you dropped out. I said that you were frozen.
Oh.
Well, whatever. You were saying.
It's a new type of production that I think, like the new age era workers have been craving for a while. Like getting to adapt a manga to animation is probably something that they haven't got to do in a long time. So I have a lot of faith that it'll look good.
Well, they have the storyboard already here. I mean, not the literal storyboard, but they can reference the manga. And that's something they could not do during the other Dragon Ball Super, the original run, because they were they were ahead of the manga for most of it. So Moro with a mouth blast. I really like how Moro's like hiding behind asteroids and things like that. I've been wanting to see a space battle like this for so long, man. Like Goku and Beerus was already like, right there, like a beautiful teaser of things to come. And here we have it, finally. I remember Beerus and Champa in the manga version, which we covered all the way back on Volume 1 of Super, was also a fight in space. I've always felt that Dragon Ball needed to go into, like, cosmic level combat at this point. You know what I'm saying? We get a little bit more of it in Granola, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So this battle, I like it because it's not only a physical battle, it's also a battle of magic. It's also a battle of people from the Moro being from the demon realm is we're gonna probably cover that in a video, but Moro being from the demon realm is almost a sure thing, to be honest. It's almost a sure thing that he is. And we know that the Glins are from the demon realm. So that would mean that Daikaio has demonic magic, but he also knows how to fight. And so because of that, and I like how he makes this little gun right here with this. This is like similar to the movie he did on Boo. He does the little finger gun, yeah. And he's like, I'll steal your magic again. And then, of course, Moro is much more powerful than he was the last time they fought. And so he's saying he can't steal him right. And Goku and Vegeta can sense that Moro is getting even more powerful. And that's probably because he's slowly absorbing that energy from Namek still. Is that what's going on here?
Well, you know, they didn't even have an idea of how strong he was, really, like, prior to all this. Like, they've been trying to, like, gauge his strength this whole time, and they really haven't got to have, like, a concrete grasp on just how strong he is. So, yeah, I mean, he's constantly draining energy around him. He's constantly getting stronger, and they're basically realizing that if they don't do something about it soon, that they won't be able to take him down. So,
yeah, I know for sure he's the most dangerous guy they fought up until this point. So, Merus says that he suspects that the Grand Supreme Kai can't execute the Kai Kai Matoru, which is the sealing technique. Now, this right here, looking back on it, I think is yet another clue as to why as to him being an angel. Like now looking back.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. You don't notice it. Like when you're going through the first time, you don't pick up on it. But now that we're going through it again, there's a lot.
Well, the thing is, they do have the caveat or the excuse that he's a Galactic Patrolman who does his homework. So
right, but we know
I do
more
remember.
now.
I do remember the discussion of him being an angel did happen on Twitter back then. It was like a big thing, but even I was like, hey, you know,
let's wait and see.
Yeah, well, they can easily use the excuse that he's just a really educated Galactic Patrolman because he knew who Goku and Vegeta were. He knew all the details about them. He knew who Boo was. And the Galactic Patrol, at one point in the story, it's stated that they have surveillance technology. So, you know, they probably have been watching them, and just kind of like in Dragon Ball Diamond, you know, when they saw all the events, and they're like, oh wow, look, they probably had a very, very similar situation go on here. So, but it's how much that he knows about the gods that starts to put it into question. Because there's no way that he's got surveillance. Jocko didn't even think Beerus was actually a thing. He thought he might have been a myth.
Not just that, but we also have, of course, what he's about to talk about here, which is the Majin Buu thing. Okay, Conundrum says, so Kais can breathe in outer space, just the Grand Supreme Kai. We literally see them breathing in space in Dragon Ball Daima. We literally see them going into the multiverse, brother. They all can.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening here is we find out through Merus, and this is I think this is an interesting bit of lore, that the good Majin Buu, when Majin Buu and Kid Buu split in the Buu saga, this is when Goku and Vegeta went inside of, at the time, Buhan to save the boys, Piccolo, and then they also freed Buu, that apparently the most of the power went to evil Buu, to Kid Buu, essentially, which is really pure Buu, is what he's really called. Majin Buu Junsui. So this version of Majin Buu, which is Kid Buu, inherited a lot of power, which is why he was so difficult to kill. And we see that in Dragon Ball Z when the two Boos are fighting. Kid Buu is much stronger. The Majin Buu, the fat Buu fighting Kid Buu here, or at the end of Z, is not the same as the one that fought at the beginning of the arc, because all the power went to Kid Buu. So it's basically...
the implication is that Kid Buu, because he's just blind, instinctual destruction,
rage and destruction, malice.
He even though he had that latent power, he did not have the conscious understanding that Goku has, you know, gathered in his lifetime, to actually use that internal power correctly. This comes back to something I've been saying for a very, very long time. You can have all the ki in your body that you want, but if you don't have ki control, you can't. It's like not having it at all. Like if you don't have control of your ki, it's almost like even if you have a lot of internal ki, you can't use it all. So
I was saying that back when this chapter first came out, that even if Kid Buu had God Ki, he had no idea how to use it. But Oob, on the other hand, that might be a different story. Should he train under Goku?
Distinction, because if you go and you read the Japanese translation and you look at what they're saying here, they're making a distinction between power and ki, and the reason that they're doing that is because he doesn't have God ki. He has to use a technique to turn this power into ki. It's very, very similar to the terminology that they use whenever Goku absorbed the battle power of a Super Saiyan God. It's very, very, very similar technology. So this is basically like the equivalent of that for.
You mean terminology? You said technology.
Oh,
terminology.
My bad.
Yeah. Just making sure.
This is basically like when Goku absorbed the battle power of a Super Saiyan God and then learned to control it to turn it into God Ki. This is Oob's equivalent of that. This is like them giving Oob like the same thing. They're like, oh, he has a bunch of God power that he absorbed, but now he's going to have to go through God training in order to actually be able to produce and turn it into God Ki.
The idea here is also that Kid Buu has way more potential than anybody realizes. It's just that he needs a trainer, and that's why, well, enter Goku.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me address this from John Meyer. That's partially true, but partially not. Yeah, Goku did say that, and that's why Kid Buu is so hard to kill. People have to remember that even though we're looking at Dragon Ball Z powers, and Dragon Ball Z powers are not as incredibly powerful as Dragon Ball Super powers, because it was before the introduction of like Beerus and that new level of power, God Ki. Kid Buu was damn near immortal. I mean, people talk about how the Spirit Bomb is what killed him, the Genki Dama. Don't forget that Buu pushed it back to Goku. Frieza couldn't even do that. Buu pushed it back to Goku, and then Goku had to push it back to him. Yeah. So the point is that, by the way, Jordan, you know I've had people say that because Goku went just Super Saiyan 1, that Super Saiyan 1 Goku is stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Yeah,
I'm not because of that. I'm not even.
People are really stupid. Every day there's some new stupid shit. Every day someone has to say some new stupid shit. But one of the things that's not stupid is that Kid Buu with training didn't even know how strong he was, and so with training, yeah, he can be dangerous. Well, and that also proves that this Kid Buu is stronger than the one that absorbed the Kais.
It's funny because the only statement Toriyama ever gave, the only statement that Toriyama ever gave about Buu, in terms of like how strong he was, they asked Toriyama how strong Buu was, like after the series was over, like who's the strongest Buu and how strong is Buu, and Toriyama says, not even Buu knows how strong he is.
I mean, yeah, that's like, a Toriyama answer, bro. But
yeah. So you know, it's funny because it's almost like a play on that in some sense, which I think is cool.
Yeah. All right, and then Moro gets thrown down. Moro throws Daikaioshin down. Then, hold on, let me make the adjustment here. The battle continues. Moro fires a ki blast. He misses. Grand Supreme Kai still involved here. Did someone steal your power and reduce you to that piggish form from earlier? So that means that Moro took his power without him even noticing. So that's what they meant by Moro got stronger. It wasn't new Namek. It was the fact that he took his power.
Yeah, because remember, he shoots the blast at him and then he eats it with his mouth. Like, as they're fighting, the Grand Supreme Kai throws a blast at him and then he eats it.
And then he goes right into a flashback of the Buu saga of Goku preparing the Genki Dama to finish off Kid Buu. This is the scene I just talked about.
Yeah.
Right. And he remembers, so when he was obliterated, my power was, now he realizes that the power really went to him. And I actually thought that was, I'll be real with you, Jordan, I think that's a pretty clever retcon. I really do.
It is, because like I said,
We would have never known.
well, not just that, but Super has like a really interesting way of like taking like offhand comments Toriyama is making in interviews and like legitimizing them in some way. Like, you know, like 17 being a park ranger. Like there's all kinds of stuff in Super that are literally just like references to just like offhand comments Toriyama's made, and I think I like that. I think that's cool.
What about here? Moro says, it's clear to me that no being in this universe possesses the power to seal away my magic. Now, when that line was first stated, you know, he's talking about Universe 7. He's talking about all of that. But in reality, he could be talking about it from the perspective of the demon realm as well. I'm not trying to say that the demon realm is a complete retcon for Moro, but I think it could add lore to the Moro character now that we know more about it. You know, Daima came out after this, so obviously, again, it's like we talk about all the time, the Dragon Ball universe is ever expanding, and sometimes the stuff that we find out later changes how we look at things from the past. Hence, retcon, retroactive continuity, or another way to look at it is recontextualization. You know.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I like how Vegeta says gimmicky techniques like that never actually get the job done. It's going to take brute force to bring him down, which is, he's wrong. And he learns that himself later in this arc. I find that very funny. Okay. So they're having a debate about Moro and what they're going to do. He wants to go get involved. He has to wear the astronaut's helmet to go jump in there. Moro is going at it with Grand Supreme Kai. He shows up with this like, it looks like this like sticky web type of thing, like Spider-Man.
Technology.
Yeah, and grabs him and like tries to pull him in. He yanks him off. Of course, Merus is suppressing his power. We didn't know that at the time because we didn't know how strong he really was. Then they go to fight in this asteroid. I actually really like, again, a lot of this space stuff here. And then they're trying to get him back to Namek away from outer space so that Goku and Vegeta can fight him. They continue to go at it. Moro starts to power up here.
And Merus is just like using like the most bare minimum tools that he can to just.
He can't use his angel power.
Yeah, he's not using really any power at all. So that's part of the reason that like. That's another thing I really like about this arc is they constantly like hint at Merus being something more, but then they'll do something to like throw you off. Like for example, right here, he tells the Grand Supreme Kai, he's like, "You can use instant teleportation, right?" And he's like, "Oh, you know your stuff, of course. As Lord of Lords, I can," but immediately, you know, they make him seem as though he's a real officer by having him use a gun and like all of his equipment, not actually showing like that he is really that strong. So
not to mention
like
that
it's a cool mixture of mixed signals that I think is interesting.
We know for a fact that the Kais know an advanced form of teleportation called Kai. That's a fact that was revealed in Dragon Ball Z. It's not just regular instantaneous movement. So, this is true. But I want you to understand that the word acceptable retcons that's subjective. I think it depends on who you ask because everyone has their own opinions about retcons. Some people like some of them, some people like none of them. Either way, dude, the reality is this. A series this long is going to have retcons at some point. Otherwise, it can't go on. Like, you have to. It's got too much of an expansive world. So Merus is using Earth toys or whatever, mortal toys to fight this guy off. It's not doing anything. Most of this chapter is fighting. There's a lot of combat in this chapter. Yeah. I really like the net thing with the rocks. I think that'd be awesome to see him using a fighting game, bro.
Yeah, me too.
And then while that's going on, right, he's using all the tools he can at his disposal, the rocket feet. Along comes freaking Daikaioshin and puts him in a freaking full Nelson to tie him up. And then, bam, they get back to planet Namek. Goku and Vegeta teleport back there. And now they want to continue the battle on Earth, and now I'm not on Earth, on the planet Namek, New Namek, because now Goku and Vegeta don't have to worry about oxygen, and they are back at full power. And Moro's not pleased.
Yep.
So now they're thinking, okay, well, Goku and Vegeta together should be able to take on this guy.
Well,
right?
they asked Goku and Vegeta. We skipped that part, but like Merus just asked.
Yeah, no, I saw it. He asked him, "Do you think you're strong enough?" I covered that.
and then they're like, "Yeah, we could beat him in Super Saiyan Blue. Like if it was just one of us in Super Saiyan Blue, we could beat him."
Well, that's what they think. That's what they think. So, Moro's third wish, and that's the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and then you see his beard start to grow there. He starts to look a little bit different, like not grow but change.
Yeah, he's getting younger.
Yeah.
So one thing I really like about this is even if there's the rabbit from old school Dragon Ball being passed up by Merus in that last page. That's cool.
Oh yeah, right there. That's a nice touch, boss. The Rabbit Gang. Yeah,
I remember that was
there.
That was controversial when that first came out because people were like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, it got blown up a few times.
Can't breathe in space. What the heck is this crap? I remember.
Not just that, but the moon got blown up a few times.
You notice how there's a big chunk taken out of the Galactic Patrol prison, even despite the fact that none of them have broken out of prison yet.
Oh yeah, I do see that actually. I didn't even notice it the first time. Yeah, like the wall's been broken.
Yeah, because Moro probably busted out right there.
I like how it looks like a dumbbell, like a curling dumbbell a little bit.
It does kind of look like it. Yeah, that's true. It does do that.
Yeah. It's a cool design. It looks a lot more like Star Trek than Star Wars. It
reminds me of Frieza, ironically.
Oh yeah. Frieza and the GP always have like similar tech. What do you think about the fact that now that it's officially been public that the GS for Xenoverse 3 is Great Saiyan Corpse? That's now been that is now public now.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. I haven't been keeping up with the Xenoverse 3 stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. I dropped that yesterday on Twitter. I didn't drop it originally. It was in V-Jump, but I did acknowledge it that, yes, it's the Great Saiyan Core, which makes more sense in the future. But actually, and I don't know this for certain, what I'm about to say, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. But I would not be surprised if the Great Saiyan Corpse idea is something that might spring off of what they're going to do in Superhero with Goten and Trunks. I don't know that for sure if they're related, but there seems to be an awful lot of Saiyan Man references in the past few years. Although Black and Fist, when we hung out together in Houston, he pointed out something that I never even thought about, bro. Jordan, what about the fact that in Dragon Ball Superhero, the movie that was all about superheroes, we did not see Gohan as Great Saiyan Man at all? That's a missed opportunity.
I mean,
that should have been in there, bro.
I've had people say that since Dragon Ball Superhero first came out, but honestly, I kind of like that Gohan's kind of outgrown the Great Saiyan Man thing a little bit. Don't get me wrong, the film doesn't handle that very well because they gaslight the fandoms by making Gohan be so ecstatic to work on like his scholarly stuff. Right. I'm sure that they would much rather see him like do Great Saiyan Man stuff than his scholarly stuff. So I can understand where they're coming from there. But I actually kind of like, and also he brought up a good point, the clean god thing.
Well, no, but we're gonna see him as that. But I meant like in the superhero movie, you would think that you would at least see at least like maybe his helmet there, something to remind us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be cool to have some sort of a reminder. I guess within the context of the manga, Goten and Trunks were the reminder.
You know what would be, but that's why I meant the movie. You know what would be awesome, bro, if at some point Gohan put the original Saiyan Man helmet on and then went into Gohan Beast and then his hair broke through the helmet like the... You know what I mean? Like the silver spiky hair cracked through the freaking helmet and destroyed it. That'd be awesome, bro. I might put that on a shirt.
Me and Zarpsy actually collab. Well, I gave him the idea from it. I didn't do any of the art, but we actually did a picture of Gohan you wearing the wearing the Clean God outfit as Gohan Beast. I'll send that to you here in a minute. You can check it out, but we'll read on until I get it to you.
Real quick, this guy's asking where to purchase Jordan's manga. Well, what if you check the description of this video and scroll down? Maybe you won't have to purchase it. Maybe you can
I
just
give
read
away
it.
all my manga for free online.
For now. That may change in the future.
Like on Twitter, you can normally find all my manga on there if you.
It's in the description of this video, though. It's there.
But
Remember, we have the links.
If you're interested in like my other manga projects, just find me on Twitter, and I will make sure that you get them. Just find them and message me. I will make sure that you get a copy of everything.
Okay, very good. But it's still in the description. So, all right. Now we have some new prisoners getting introduced, new characters. Tell us about what your thoughts are on these. I don't even know if you call them Moro followers. I think they're just there because they're taking advantage of the fact that Moro busted them out.
Well, I think this is genius for multiple reasons.
Go for it.
Moro was a new.
Well, I'm sorry. These aren't the prisoners. These are the Galactic Patrol guys investigating. I'm sorry. That's what.
Yeah. That's where Moro broke
screwed
out.
That up.
Right.
Yeah.
There.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan. Is he frozen? Are you frozen, bro?
Sorry, my internet keeps dropping off. I don't know why.
Okay, you're back. Okay, talk about these two guys, man. You were gonna say something, but you froze up.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
so
anything.
I was gonna say the criminals are cool because it was a cool narrative device. Because Moro, the excuse that he's as strong as he is, but I
got mixed up there.
They get blocked, but he was locked in Galactic Patrol prison, and that's why they haven't had to fight him after all this time. They can use that excuse for more strong enemies, right? So if they want to fight more strong enemies later on in the future, or have like strong enemies scattered throughout the universe to face later on in the future, all of these criminals be.
You're cutting out again, bro. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties. Jordan lives in a forest somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. I guess let's continue, or we can do something.
Anyway, I was just gonna say that it's cool that like they invented a new way to have a bunch of strong alien enemies scattered throughout the universe that weren't there before. Also, the way the prisoner is designed, have you ever seen Lilo and Stitch?
Long time ago, yes.
The way
speaking of which, bro, did you hear that the Lilo and Stitch actress that voices Lilo's dead, bro?
No, I did not hear that.
Dwight Chase died at the age of 35, dude.
She's my age. I'm 35. That's crazy.
35, and she voiced Lilo. Rest in peace, dude. Nobody should be dying at 35,
if you
man.
Look at the prison in Lilo and Stitch, it looks so much like this, dude. It's like actually crazy. Like it's literally like the room is exactly the same. They have a bunch of glass doors where all the little criminals are stored and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty funny. But anyway, I do think this is a good excuse to have a bunch of new strong enemies running around the universe. I think that's a cool, because there's no telling how long some of these people have been locked up. It
reminds me of that Batman storyline where all the criminals broke out of Arkham.
It's very similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me. I've done that a few times, bro.
Anyway, one thing I didn't get to say because I was frozen, but there is a character a few pages back he is the same alien race from Cashman.
Where am I going?
Right there. See the guy with the hair and the pointy ears, the top
the purple guy.
Left page. Left page.
Left page.
Yeah, middle right. Middle right.
Like over here
somewhere? Go down. That guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, like a fishman.
That guy.
That looks like the fishman from Dragon Quest.
That guy is
the Mer people.
The same race that Cashman has to fight at the very beginning of Cashman. So that's a cool little Easter egg if you guys hadn't caught it before. I also like it. I also like that this character down here kind of looks like Boo too. It's interesting.
Yes, that looks almost identical to Boo. Like it's almost like it's You know what, bro? I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, bro, because I wanted to get a picture of Majin Buu, Kid Buu doing time, bro.
He's
Kid
Majin
Buu
Blue.
doing multiple life sentences, bro. Yeah, Majin Blue, bro.
Yeah.
Majin Blue. All right, doing multiple life sentences, bro. You'd think he was Rican or something. All right, let's continue here. All right, can you believe that it's 2026 and we're getting Toy Story 5 and Shrek 5?
Yeah, Toy Story 5 looks wild. I
I'm going
actually
tomorrow.
Toyotaro actually posted a picture of him with like a cup with Woody on it, like, and he had like a Toy Story 5 like shirt on, and the design that they gave for Woody reminds me so much of this character right here, like the one with like the poncho like over his. He even has like the
Yeah,
long nose like Woody. It's so
the
funny.
long, yeah, and that horrible hair. Do you remember on Mad TV? Remember Sex Toy Story? How Woody was a dildo and Buzz was a vibrator?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Those were the good old days, bro. Those were the good old days. All right. So, by the way, we all agree Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to the saga. Right? Let's keep it a buck. All right. So, the Galactic Patrol headquarters, the prison, whatever, it's time for everybody to break out. I actually, like we talked about, I like this a lot. I think it's very cool. I like how these guys are wearing orange jumpsuits, just like in real prison. That kind of touch is always appreciated. This will be a lot of fun. We're now being introduced some new characters. Saganbo, who is going to be like a minion, sort of like a Dodorian Zarbon of this arc.
Yeah,
I'm actually.
he's an alien greaser. He's like an alien, like 50s era greaser, bro. It's so funny.
Either that or like
He
Gambit.
like-
He reminds me
Yeah.
of Gambit too, a little bit.
yeah, like he's got that Brooklyn thing going on. Yeah,
Yeah, well, Gambit's from what is it, the Bayou and shit. But
yeah. He
You know,
has like a Brooklyn thing going on, like a,
right? No, he does look like somebody from The Outsiders.
yeah.
For those of you who have seen that film or read the book, I did read the book first. So about the prisoners, man, I'm excited for this to get animated because it'll be an opportunity for them to cast a bunch of new people to do voices. It'll be an opportunity for both the dub and the sub to introduce some new talent to Dragon Ball. Because look, man, Sagambo might not be a big character, but that would still be a fun role to play in the Dragon Ball sphere. So here on the right side, we have what essentially is going to be Team Moro. A bunch of characters that I suppose are, prisoners that escape. Now we've got, they're very interesting. We've got a metal man there, just like, Magetta
Universe
from
6. Yeah, we
Universe
get to see the
6.
Universe 7 Metal Man. That's
Right,
cool.
we see him there for the first time. We see OG73, of course. We have somebody who looks to be the same race as either Zarbon or maybe Bojack. We've got the teddy bear guy back there. I forgot his name, but I'm sure we'll remember all their names. We've got these. You're frozen again, brother. Oh man, Jordan, come on with this internet. Jordan,
I'm here.
you froze again.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, you were
they
saying.
They look like an evil Tournament of Power team almost.
Yeah, except not powerful. You've got the three women back there, including who looks a lot like Android 21. The one on the right looks like Android 21 in her boo form. And then you've got Sagambo there in the front. So, of course, OG73 would end up being the most interesting one out of these. And the prisoners are escaping. I mean, a lot of this chapter is pretty much covering that. They're stick them up, trying to get the hell out of there. So Moro's escape has caused a massive, massive prison break beyond just an evil being being free. Now the GP has a lot in their hands. Jordan, what I'm hoping for, man, is that when this gets animated, we see a lot more of this. This is fun to see. I just want to see an entire episode, maybe even 2, devoted to seeing what these criminals do, because those types of episodes, of like any anime, are always fun to follow what the villains are doing. You know, Sopranos does it very, very well.
Yeah.
Are you there? Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'm
you're
here.
frozen
Yeah,
again. You're tricking me,
I'm
bro.
excited to see it animated too, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, do you get where I'm coming from? If they have a whole
No, I
episode
do.
just focused
There's
on
probably
them,
going to be a lot of episodes of this arc. Like looking at it from this perspective, like yeah,
it's got to be at least 25, right? At least on the low end. At least 25? I think you're frozen again, bro. He froze again, didn't he?
I'm here, by the way.
I thought you were frozen again, bro.
No,
you weren't moving. You were like this.
My bad.
What's going on with your internet?
I don't know. I have no clue. But I don't have time to like turn everything off and go look, and so we'll just work our way through it.
So he said that his final wish was revealed, that every prisoner in the Galactic prisons be set free. So
yeah, and this was genius because you know now they don't just have Moro to focus on; they have to lock up everybody, and it makes it that much harder to lock him up. So it's genius.
It's total chaos at this point. Moro has caused total chaos. This guy here said Jordan's playing with you now.
No, I'm not. I wish I was.
I know. I thought you were getting me there. I thought you were getting me there. I should do that next time I'm streaming with somebody. Just go like this and sit still. Oh, I'm sorry, I froze. See how long I can do that for.
You about fooled me there for a second, bro.
No, I've done that before, bro. I fool people like that. Not like on stream, but in real life. Okay, so now Sagambo actually is somehow able to get to Moro really quickly. So that means, what that means, by the way, is that these events that happened here already took place. The reason why they're able to get to Moro so fast is because this was going on while they were fighting Moro. Because he had made the third wish, he just didn't reveal it yet. So, which by the way, Jordan, when's Moro gonna make the third wish? So now we have an entire army of inmates that are ready to fight Goku and Vegeta. Let's take a look at some of these guys, bro. So out of these guys, what do you think?
I think they're awesome. I think there's a lot of like really cool references to some OG Dragon Ball designs, some really gnarly looking alien designs. I think it's awesome. And they're also powered up by Moro, which is interesting.
Yeah, you've got a Maji Kaio looking guy there. That was Majin Blue that you were pointing out. There's a rhinoceros dude. And then the guy on the right there, this is going to be a deep cut, but do you remember in the Tree of Might movie that Tullus had one of his men look like that cyborg guy?
I do remember that, yeah.
He had like rockets in his body. That's who the guy on the right here, the alien on the right, looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of deep cuts that I'm not necessarily picking up on, that I'm regretting not picking up on here. But yeah, I love it. I think it's awesome.
Well, me being the Dragon Quest guy, there really, believe it or not, there really isn't that much Dragon Quest references here as much as you would think. A lot of this was probably Toyotaro's designs. So, and then, you know, have at them, my convicts. So now Goku and Vegeta have to work together against the cavalry. So this is gonna be awesome, bro. Oh man, once this gets animated, this is gonna be awesome. Goku and Vegeta taking on the convicts, bro. 2 against, I don't know, how many is it? 100? 50?
A lot. Yeah.
Is Moro a pun for something? I don't remember. Was he?
I don't remember what I don't remember what Toyotaro said. I remember Toyotaro said something about his name, but I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I know Moro's like a rice thing. So in Spanish, that's a Cuban rice. Black Cuban rice is called Moro. I used to call his ass Moro when I was covering the arc the first time. So this is all action, like a lot of the stuff we covered this Mangalorian. Lots of action here. They realize, like the prisoners realize, that these aren't just Galactic Patrol like drones. They're actually tough warriors. Goku switching between Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan God. And meanwhile, while they're fighting, Moro started to absorb the power of the planet again. The battle continues here, and so here's what I think is pretty cool. So Vegeta, so as Moro is absorbing, Goku and Vegeta go from blue to red, and then from red to yellow. See, look, Goku's going backwards. There he goes, Super Saiyan 3, right? 3, and then down to 1. Now, the obvious question here, Jordan, first of all, we saw Goma do this once in Dragon Ball Daima episode 18, where he took Goku and he reversed it back to base. But there's no Super Saiyan 4 here, Jordan. What's going on? What's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. You know, it is. Super Saiyan 4 didn't exist at this point.
You ever think that maybe, just maybe, that form really does require magic that Goku doesn't remember how to use? And why did they not show Super Saiyan 3 on Vegeta? That's another great point.
Yeah, because they just neither one of them existed at this point.
We knew that's the real answer, what you just said. No, rice in Spanish is arroz. Moro is a specific black Spanish rice.
Yeah, it's just Toyotaro has.
Jordan's frozen again now. maybe Jordan's new name should be Frieza.
I'm here.
Frieza. Your name's Frieza, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Froze. Okay, you were saying?
I was just saying, like, this is just a side effect of, like, Toyotaro working with what he had at that time, you know?
Right. And they could add Super Saiyan 4 if they wanted to. I don't think they will. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. So they discuss that the Grand Supreme Kai or Majin Buu is tired. They're kind of outnumbered here. And Moro says his goal is to create an ideal galaxy where he's free to consume planets as he wishes. Gathering allies is one small step towards it. So it's basically Galactus, except he's more evil than Galactus.
Yeah. To me, this is almost like what happens when you introduce somebody who has like a demonic nature, like a Majin-like nature, to like
in a bad way.
Yeah, to like to the concept of ki, you know.
Well, like Vegeta asks him, why do you hold the grudge against the Galactic Patrol? And he says, I detest the sort of peace that you people seek to preserve on this planet, which is basically translation. Hopefully what he said, bro. You know?
Yep.
You're back. Okay, your internet's really cutting out now, bro. Now I'm getting like, it was giving me swirlies. Are you downloading like the Neo Dragon Ball Z's, bro?
I have nothing open on my computer. The only thing that I can imagine it might be is they might have my router sitting in the window getting baked by the sun. But I don't have time.
You should never have your router next to the window, bro. What are you doing?
No, I don't. I actually get really upset if I see them doing that. But that's just my assumption is that maybe it's getting baked by the sun right now. I could probably try to go and fix it, but I'll have to walk away for a minute. So.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. So now they're back in their base form, and Moro's taking their energy. Here comes Merus and Jocko to the rescue. They're using their, guns, I guess. I actually like this a lot because it's different. The reason why I appreciate this is that it's actually different than a lot of what we normally see in Super.
Yep, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different... They tried some things here, and I like that. Iriko, you gotta take the ship and get out of here. They're trying to get him off the planet. Stupid magic spells, stupid god power. It's a very Vegeta frustrated thing. And then they have to get off the planet now because Goku's running out of energy. Huh?
This is when he decides he's going to have to do some different type training than what Saiyans normally do, or Vegeta, namely, normally does. This is like when he decides he needs to go to Yardrat. Which I think is cool character development on Vegeta's part, but I also think it's funny that he's like, we pride ourselves on our physical might.
Right there.
And
yet he's been reduced to this.
Yeah, but normally they don't. Basically, this kind of shows you like Vegeta doesn't have that Earthling background of like focusing on like, that style of training. Like he always just does physical exercises and stuff like that to try and get stronger. So this is like the first time that he's like really like devoting himself to learning something akin to what the gods teach. We talked about in the last stream. Like, the idea of martial arts is something that was passed down to the gods. So this is almost like Vegeta being like, oh, I need more god training. Even though he's not going to go train with gods, the concept of like using your ki correctly and aligning your mind and your body and your spirit, like, he's going to have to delve into that a little bit before he can defeat Moro.
Yeah, yeah. I like the fact that he's realizing now. Okay, this is going to take a lot more.
Moro is refusing to do that. Moro is refusing to cultivate himself in that way. So this is Vegeta choosing to do that, and that's cool.
It's going to take a lot more than just training hard and physical power to win. And so it's and I like that. Again, we've talked about that, man. Goku and Vegeta having to deal with magic and hacks makes the villains that much more interesting, because it's not just here's a new form. Look how strong I am. It's I'm tired of that. Like, I like when Dragon Ball does different stuff. So Goku's like, we got to get out of here. Goku's like, let's go. They warp out. They can't do anything. Galactic King is taking a bath. They happen to teleport in right when he's naked in there, which of course, that's funny. They teleport there. They're under attack. They escape the planet. And then Vegeta straight up says, we're going to planet Yardrat. So Vegeta's the one that first realizes, like, okay, we need to make a pit stop somewhere because this is not going to work.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that Toyotaro teamed him up with the character who looks like a Techian, like Tarble's wife. I think he did that on purpose.
Yeah, right. Okay. Meanwhile, Moro is now even younger because he absorbed all of the nutrients from planet Namek. Now, basically the idea here is that they got away, they escaped, but he doesn't care. Right now, he's going to let them roam the universe as livestock, and he'll kill them whenever he runs into them again.
Yeah, basically, this is what I was talking about, that one stream where he's like, I don't care if they die. Like, I can always just, like, use them for energy later. Like, he basically, he's coming to the conclusion that he's so strong at this point that it really doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter at this point.
But every villain makes that same mistake, though, Jordan.
Yeah, that's true.
The hubris. It's the hubris. That's a lesson that Toriyama, and it's not just Toriyama, a lot of great stories have always brought up the fact that villains' ego is always what gets the best of them. Yeah. Their arrogance. They talk too much, kind of like some people in real life, and it ends up...
And you'll notice his beard is completely gone now.
Yeah, he's getting younger and younger. I mentioned that, which means he's close to his max power. If not, he's already there. So they've got a series of plans to go to. So they want to go through every nook and cranny and absorb everything. Although it does make you wonder, what do you think would have happened, Jordan, if Moro would have encountered Frieza somewhere in space?
That would have been interesting. There's a little bonus comic in here where they show Frieza.
They show Frieza. Yeah, but I mean... a Frieza versus Moro battle, at this point, Moro would probably win, but it would be pretty interesting to see, like, the prisoners against Frieza's guys, even though they're all evil, they're all villains. But again, I like that kind of stuff. I like when villains fight each other.
Well, Frieza, it's funny because Frieza's like, we're not criminals. In the bonus comic, he's like, we're not actually criminals. This is business.
Yeah, it's business.
It is funny.
Yeah. No, it's like, again, not to bring up Sopranos again, but it's like, I'm not a criminal, I'm a regular citizen. When it's like, no, you're a mobster who kills people. But hey, it's whatever, bro. A lot of the great protagonists in history. So we find out from the Galactic King that every last inmate from the Galactic Prison has escaped. So now there's serious problems, and the Galactic Patrol tries to galvanize the troops to get this problem solved. Majin Buu is asleep again because he did get into a hard fight, and basically they realize that Buu did the best against them, or Grand Supreme Kai, whatever, and they're saying that they cannot track Sagambo because his ship is the fastest ever, so he's got the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense as to why Moro specifically helped Sagambo with that context in mind.
Yeah, he knew. It's like he knew about that ship. It's crazy he was able to find the ship. So all these guys now we're in the regrouping section of the story. We're going from Act 1 to Act 2. We're now in Act 2 of the Moro arc where they're trying to figure out what to do. Now again with Planet Yardrat, I want to read what Vegeta says here. He talks about Planet Yardrat. He says the denizens of that planet aren't suited to physical combat, but they employ a number of strange techniques. It's the same tribe that taught Kakarot instant teleportation. So again, it's what we talked about a second ago. Vegeta's understanding now that his ways of training, his ways of getting stronger, his methods of combat are antiquated against an enemy like Moro. Jordan, I have wanted this for so long, dude.
No, I know. It's awesome.
I've wanted it for so long. A villain where it's like we can't just get stronger to beat him. We have to figure something else out.
Yep.
And these moments of Vegeta alone are always great. I can't afford to be made a fool of like that again. I'll achieve victory next time over Moro and those convicts and over Kakarot. Now, I want to talk about this line because here we go with Vegeta regressed. When Vegeta says he wants to attain victory over Kakarot, he's not talking about beating Kakarot in a fight and hurting him. He's talking about outclassing Goku as a fighter, becoming a better warrior than Goku, not beating him. Vegeta has long since given up the idea of killing Goku. He doesn't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
But Jordan, people are going to take this line and say, oh, he's regressed back to Z Vegeta when he hasn't.
This is the argument that I always give when people bring up this bullshit. Has Goku's desire to surpass his opponents ever been framed as something bad?
Has Goku's desire? No, and it's the same thing with Vegeta. Well, at first Vegeta's was, but that was before he went through his arc.
Right, and the reason is because Goku has a healthy, sportsman-like attitude when it comes to wanting to surpass his opponents.
Competition.
And that is what Vegeta's character development is supposed to be about. You remember that ending that was so controversial that Toriyama added where Vegeta's like, I'll beat you someday, Kakarot, whenever he's at the tournament, whenever Goku and Oob meet. And he added that extra part of the ending where Vegeta's standing there at the tournament saying, I'll defeat you one day, and then people lost their shit over that because they said he regressed. The fact that Vegeta is there to fight him in a tournament is supposed to be his character progression. Okay? Goku, him trying to surpass Goku as a martial artist or as a warrior, as you put it, is never something that he grows out of because Goku never grows out of that. He's copying Goku. Goku wants to surpass his opponents. He wants to constantly get stronger. It just so happens that in Vegeta's case, Goku is always going to be the stepping stone that's right in front of him that he needs to surpass. There's nothing that he can do about that,
Yes, and this is a great example right here of something we've talked about a lot in recent streams, and that is looking at Dragon Ball holistically. If you were to look at just these 4 panels or just these 3 panels, I can understand somebody saying, oh, Vegeta's regressing. Why does he want to attain victory over Kakarot? I get that. But when you look at the entire context, what happened in Battle of Gods, what Vegeta said in Resurrection F, what happened between them in the different arcs, what Vegeta said about Goku against Goku Black, what Vegeta said about Goku during the Tournament of Power, the Broly movie, when you take everything that's happened to Vegeta and Goku since the Majin Buu fight, when you take all of that holistically and you look at it, that's how you figure out what Vegeta's motives are.
Yeah, I thought about making a 1-page manga of the ideal Vegeta according to the fans, where he's just a little wuss who's I don't ever want to surpass Goku. A little wuss? I don't want to ever surpass Goku. He's the greatest ever. Literally, they essentially kind of just want Vegeta to be a Goku fanboy who has given up on fighting almost. It's weird. The direction that fans want for Vegeta's character, I just don't get. It's weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah, they want him to just I guarantee you, because there was people getting upset about Vegeta like jumping all over Goku whenever they were talking about Frieza in the Broly film. People were getting upset over that. But if Goku was talking about keeping Frieza alive and Vegeta didn't freak out about that, you would get just as upset about that as you would him getting upset with Goku over Frieza being alive. You want to have somebody in the story who's like a counter to like Goku's philosophy and who's constantly like criticizing him and being like, hey, is this the right path? Like that's something that needs to exist within the story, and arguably that's what a lot of people like about Vegeta is that he does criticize Goku in that way. So there's just a lot of like weird complaints that the fans have when it comes to Vegeta that I just don't get like at all.
That's okay, Jordan. I read last week that Goku could have actually beaten Cell, but he let Gohan do it.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a mess.
I'm just smile and wave, bro. Smile and wave. So the galactic prisoners start to conquer planets, Moro's guys, and look what we have here. For the first time, we saw a little bit of it in the Buu saga, but for the first time, we see Pui Pui's planet, bro. I like this reference.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I always thought Pui Pui had a cool design, despite the fact that he was mollywopped by Vegeta rather easily.
Yeah.
Pui Pui always had a cool design, bro. Look at him.
Cool
I mean, that's
I like the armor a lot.
Yeah, but it's like Frieza. The armor's part of his body, but we knew that back then. Unlike now,
Yeah.
They look at I love the royal treasure. It's a giant treasure chest, like something out of Zelda, bro.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so they're pretty much just taking over. Very gruesome stuff here. Don't expect this kind of violence for the anime, even though I wish there was. They open up the giant chest, and there's all kinds of jewels and gold and a crown, and this is just straight up like pirate booty.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I don't mean like Fleece Johnson booty, bro. I mean like booty. Why do you say his name like that? Is his name not Pui Pui? Did I say his name wrong? It's Pui Pui. In the manga, they call him a Pocus, but that's wrong. It's Pui Pui. And that's because, but Pocus is not entirely wrong. Pui Pui is a pun on Chin Chin Puri Pui, which is like an abracadabra type of thing, like tada. So that's where it comes from. That's why Dabura is a pun on Dabra. So
right.
Yeah, Pui Pui. Anyways, OG73 doing his Cyclops thing. This is just, there's not much for us to break down. It's just that these guys are taking over. This is a very Star Wars-esque thing right here, bro. The minion bowing down to the master. Yes, no booty warrior, bro. Fleece Johnson, ironically enough, Fleece Johnson would have wore that orange jumpsuit at one point, but can you imagine if in one of these fucking manga chapters, Sagambo went up to Vegeta and was like, I like you. And I want you.
Oh my God.
Babidi says it different. Well, I don't care what the dub says, my friend. I don't care what the English dub trash says. His name is Pui Pui. You understand what I'm saying? That's his name. I don't give a fuck if his name in the dub is fucking Charlie Wilcox. That's the main character from Suburban Commando. I was frozen today. His name is Pui Pui, dog. We don't fucking say Hercule here. We say Mr. Satan. I don't know what Babidi pronounces his name as, but it's Pui Pui.
Right.
Anyways, Moro's eating planets, getting stronger. This is the dark times. And here we have the do you remember when this chapter came out, bro? Was this the Barbarian? No, it's not the Barbarians, never mind. Do you remember when this chapter dropped, everybody was commenting on these chicks? What do you think now, looking back?
I mean, it's not shocking. I mean, Dragon Ball fan.
You cut out again, bro. Jordan, man. I'm just gonna type frozen. You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I only freeze for like 5 seconds at a time. I don't understand why, but it's whatever. I mean it's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely fan service.
Froze again, bro. You can't even finish a sentence without freezing. Maybe you should go check out the Maybe you should go. Why don't you go and check? Go check the router, bro, because this is getting out of hand. Now it's every sentence you're freezing twice. You're freezing again now, dude. What the? This is a joke, bro. Go check the router, man. Okay, I think he's gone. I think. Let me read the comments here. Mecha J said fans are gonna simp, and that's what they did. These girls, nothing inherently wrong with that. No, I wasn't even thinking about the simping. I didn't think it was that crazy. It's just I think people were comparing them to like, I think the Universe 6 Saiyans, bro. There is no storm at There is no storm where Jordan's at. You can't, brother. You can't. It's not storming where Jordan is at, dude. You can't. You can't. If there's a storm in China, it's not gonna affect us here. I know, right? So, it's Pale Gray says that these monsters are from GT. Yeah, and that's a great observation you made because I forgot all about that. Believe it or not, folks, I do forget things from time to time. Dragon Ball's pretty big, and I'm getting older. I do forget things. They look like the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know about that. I mean, I guess maybe the hair, maybe. Boxcar, I know that, but it does matter because his internet's not connected to any of that. It does matter, bro. He's not in that area. He's more to the southeast of that area, like I am. I mean, look, man, let me show you something. See out here? This is the sunlight. There's no rain. Like, look at, if you see over here, bro, it's like right now, man, there's not a drop of rain, man. It's a nice sunny day out. I'll be honest, I kind of want to go out. Like, you know, I kind of want to go soak up the sun. I want to soak up the sun. Remember that song? Anyways, let's get back to it here. So Goku, Vegeta, and the GP are trying to figure out where these guys are at. And Merus already knows that Moro's trying to go after Epic Rain. You're probably right about that, but 2G is actually better than you realize, my friend. So they're trying to chase Moro to stop him from absorbing planets as fast as... And now here is another clue about Merus' power. Even if we could confront Moro now, our odds of victory are virtually zero. And Goku goes, even if you were fighting seriously. So Goku already suspects here that Merus is an angel. Are you back, man?
Yeah, I'm back. It was hot, but it wasn't because it was in the window. It's just hot in general.
Okay.
If it happens again, I'll just like exit out of StreamYard and come back and go back in. Maybe that'll fix it.
Maybe it will, yeah. Or maybe, did you move it at all?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so this is the part right here I just noticed of where Goku Goku realizes that Merus is not who he claims he is. Goku can sense that there's more to this guy.
Yeah, like because he goes to like barely move his hand, and he's like, "Yeah, I can see that you sense this like right away." Like, yeah, he's got him pegged.
He goes for a very fast punch, faster than light. And Merus dodges, and Goku's like, "Oh, you're not just like Jocko. You are not like Jocko."
Yep.
And that's when Goku realizes, I don't think he knows he's an angel, but he knows this guy's a lot more powerful than just the average mortal. And he says that he wants to get a feel for Merus' true power. So now they're about to spar. Goku goes in and he's trying to attack, and Merus is quick enough to dodge. He's trying to pretend like it's just regular human speed, but we know it's not. I actually think this is going to be a lot of fun animated too.
Oh, yeah, this fight's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great fight. Goku, and I want to give Toyotaro credit also for improving his paneling in this arc. It's not quite Toriyama levels. It's really not. You know, Jordan, over the weekend I talked to Lance on the phone, and we were discussing, we had a very interesting discussion about the Dragon Ball manga compared to the Sailor Moon manga. I don't know if you've ever read the Sailor Moon manga, but the Sailor Moon manga is very difficult to read. Even for Lance, who's a bigger Sailor Moon fan than I am. The Sailor Moon manga, the way the panels are, makes it really hard to read. and he was talking about just how incredible Toriyama's paneling is. And to this day, when it comes to great manga that I've seen, I haven't seen every manga, but the ones that I've seen, Toyotaro may actually be the best. I'm sorry, Toriyama, excuse me. Akira Toriyama may actually be the absolute best when it comes to paneling, because it's very easy to read his stuff and absorb the information.
Yeah, well, also the editorial process was entirely different because he was getting to do an improvisational manga, and that's part of the reason the paneling is better in the Moro arc is because they're not setting up the product in a way to where Toyotaro has to adapt a certain amount of material into a volume in the same sense that he did with, like, adapting material. He still has to pre-plan how many pages he's going to draw in order to fit into a volume. Paneling is definitely easier said than done. I'll put it that way, because paneling
It is. You have to learn it.
It's a side effect of planning a volume or planning a certain amount of chapters. The amount of panels, I'm live. The amount of panels that you have, like in a manga, is completely dictated by the editorial process in terms of like how much material you need to create a volume or a chapter. So,
yeah, and it's just Toyotaro's improved, but I was just saying that I don't know if he's ever caught up to Toriyama. And Pale Gray, I want to address this. He says shoujo manga tend to have different structure than shonen. Yes, but we're not talking about that just in the sense of the structure. I've seen some shoujo manga that is a bit easier to read. What I'm talking about is how hard it was to read Sailor Moon, specifically Sailor Moon, in comparison to other shoujo. And it's really about Akira Toriyama. Oh, I think we lost Jordan. It's really about Akira. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. You see my big ass head there. It's really about how good of a paneler Akira Toriyama is. Like, that's really what I wanted to really put over, is how good of a paneler he is, man. Like, we covered a lot of that when we did the original 42 volumes. And even if you go back and if you read Dr. Slump, Toriyama's masterwork before Dragon Ball, even then you see what a genius Akira Toriyama was with his paneling. Like, he's just always been really, really good at it. Okay, Jordan is back. Yo, you're back.
yeah, and everything's running so much better. So I don't know what that did, but
Had to reset the connection, you think?
well, something about StreamYard. It made, I don't know. After I reopened StreamYard, it made it like so much better.
They are adding some new features like every week to this thing, Jordan. Like every week, I give them credit. They're adding new features to it. So I have to run and get some water because my throat's starting to hurt. Can you, since I filibustered for you, can you quickly talk about Goku going from Super Saiyan 1 to 3 fighting Merus?
Yeah, sure will.
I'll be right back in like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, the fact that that he has to go into Super Saiyan 3 was such a huge thing back whenever this happened live, like when people were reading the manga, because again, there was this like huge debate about like whether or not Merus was an angel and just how strong he was and who he was. So I'll never forget it. Whenever we saw like Goku go all the way into like Super Saiyan God against Merus, we're like, this dude can't just be like, either his race has to be ridiculously strong, or he can't just be just like a Galactic Patrol. So, and yes, I do come across dangerous animals where I live. Yes, I actually have to protect these little guys from coyotes all the time. So yeah.
I'm back, by the way.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. Okay, so again, Goku's testing himself. Super Saiyan 3, we're going all out. And then right here, they're discussing how Goku's just testing Merus' power. So at this point, we already know Merus is at least beyond Super Saiyan 3, right? At least that. So, but of course, there's more. We don't know how strong he really is yet. Goku powering up again, now going into Super Saiyan God, and this could threaten the ship from being destroyed, because they're starting to crack the ship, and they're like, no, well, you have to stop. So he
Yeah.
powers down. It's like, no, we can't fight here. And then Goku's like, yeah, I've seen enough. You're pretty strong. And then he basically says, why don't you train me?
Yeah. Yeah, and this was really cool. I like when we finally do get to the training. It's extremely because we won't get into that in this volume, and I'll make sure my internet's better before we do the next volume. I'll do
Yeah,
whatever.
or that, either that or just maybe leave and come back from StreamYard sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now that we know that worked.
But yeah, dude, this little training session that Goku has with Merus is one of my favorite training sessions that Goku ever goes through, for real.
Well, one of the things I like that I want to point out is the fact that Goku straight up says, I don't know how strong you are entirely, but it seems like you know more than I don't know. So Goku, just from fighting him, knows that Merus has a lot more knowledge of combat than he's willing to even Goku has. Now,
Right.
this is a tremendous panel when it comes to pointing out to people who think that Goku in Dragon Ball Super is somehow dumber than he used to be. Does Goku have his childlike moments and his moments of being a goofball? Yes. Guess what? He had them when he was younger too. When he first saw Bulma's motorcycle, he thought it was a creature. Okay, like this
Right.
is classic fish out of water storytelling. Yes, Goku is definitely a goofy character. That's the way it's supposed to be. But the idea that he's like dumber, I mean, look, Goku just fought him a little bit. Didn't even go to max power and already knows that he knows more than he realizes.
Right.
So Merus accepts. Merus actually accepts. And Goku even discusses Ultra Instinct, learning how to master. And then Goku's like, I have a feeling you could teach me some things. So now they want to find a place to train where they can actually really use it. Planet Jung.
There are certain character traits that Goku will never lose because it's a side effect of his purity. Also, I posted an interview from a real life martial artist on Twitter the other day, and he talks about how Goku like smiling in combat and like not getting like emotionally upset is a side effect of his mastery of martial arts. Because if you get emotionally
It's a mental
distraught-
game. He's freezing again. No, we had it. No, we had it. Look at his face. You're frozen again, bro.
Too good to be true. But
I know,
yeah,
right?
I would go read that. It's on my Twitter, or go to the Dragon Ball official website.
Well, I don't even know what you said. Oh, the martial artist guy.
Yeah, it's called the Surprisingly Deep Teachings of the Roshi School or something like that. It's on the Dragon Ball official website. You'll find it. It's really, really cool.
I like this right here. So they go to Planet Jung, and this guy says, that safe ain't going to open itself. Of course, what that reminds me of is my infamous quote from my streams. Don't forget, folks. Don't forget, this is a way to live your life, bro. This is a way to live your life. Anyways, let's get back to it here. And now they're just robbing people. I like how he's wearing a poncho like he's one of those like old West criminals.
Yeah, he's an old Western style criminal, yeah.
But this whole thing is old Western style.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Call Saganbo Getty, give him good story. So Planet Jung and Sagan, Carl Sagan and Jung, aren't those both like I'm pretty sure those are psychologists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where they got the pun for that from. You wouldn't think that Toyotaro would have known about stuff like that. Not even Toriyama talks about stuff like that too much, but there you go.
Yeah, you have to study psychology to a degree to do manga like this. It makes sense.
At least a little bit, yeah. Okay, so now what ends up happening is Vegeta makes it to planet Yardrat. So, chapter 52, Son Goku and Vegeta's training.
Yeah,
Now,
this was an example of Toyotaro trying to work Toei's lore into Toriyama's lore because this.
I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, but this is cool because we've only seen the Yardrat people once in, not including video games. We saw them in Dragon Ball Z when Goku talks about his time with them after the fight with Frieza.
Yeah.
But we never saw them again after that. They were never in the manga. However, and this is what Jordan's talking about, you will notice that you have two different types of Yardrats. The ones on the right there are the ones we saw in the Dragon Ball Z anime. The ones on the left here, those are the Yardrats that Akira Toriyama designed specifically for Dragon Ball Online.
Yep.
So what does this mean? Well, for a long time, Jordan, there was a contradiction. They were like, which are the real Yardrats? Turns out, very brilliantly, that Toyotaro decided, and this is a good move. We gotta be real. When he does good things, we gotta give him credit.
Right.
He said, "Fuck it. There's two different types of Yardrat species, and they both inhabit the planet." Now, the reason why I like that is because A, it satisfies both the Toriyama followers and the anime fans, and
Yep.
B, it creates a nice little juxtaposition between the Yardrat people and the Saiyans. When the Saiyans were on planet Vegeta with the Sulfurians, the Tuffles! They're called the Tuffles in Dragon Ball Z! Mondo cool, guys! Krillin's in the house! Yamcha sucks! It's over 9,000! Allight's a good nightmare to you! So the Sulfurians, their actual name, couldn't live with the Saiyans on the same planet and like share resources. They couldn't do that, right? So they had to have a civil war. But here we have two distinctly different species and they make it work. Yep. Maybe peace on Earth is possible, Jordan.
Also,
just
used
maybe.
Both different color schemes for the Yardrat outfit that Goku wore. Because Goku, at one point, there's a colored version of him wearing a Yardrat outfit that's exactly like that instead of the one in the anime. So I thought that was cool too.
Right, but that's okay. It's what I grew up with. So here, I think it's pretty cool that Vegeta is now. I've always thought it was cool that he's training with them. The Ginyus. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, me too. I was just saying, me too.
Yeah, now they mention how this Yardrat says the Ginyu squad caused quite a stir on our planet before Goku defeated them. So if you remember, the reason as to why the Goku actually wound up on this planet is because according to what was revealed by Vegeta, the Ginyu Force, before Frieza called them to come to planet Namek when Zarbon died to help him out, the Ginyu Special Forces were on a mission to planet Yardrat, probably to conquer it for Frieza's empire. So that means that not only did Goku save the Yardrat people from the Ginyu Force showing up and possibly killing all of them, that is what is when Goku got in the ship, he just pushed the button and passed out. They show it in the anime version, and he just woke up here. So I've always liked that. And once again, because of Goku's good karma, by making sure the Ginyu, I mean, granted, Vegeta was the one that killed them all, but they were on their way back there, bro.
Yep.
And then he says, "We're eternally grateful for you."
Killing them all is cool because this is also like a payoff for that for Vegeta too, which is cool.
They're thanking him, and he goes, "You're welcome," thinking about how he killed them when they were already knocked out.
Yep.
So which one of you guys taught Kakarot how to learn the instantaneous movement? So it turns out it was this guy. This is a new character that we didn't know about before. This is the guy who specifically taught Goku that. Now we also have other abilities being revealed, like they can make copies of themselves and other things that we're gonna see.
Yeah, look at what I just DM'd you on.
Do you want me to show it?
Yeah.
All right, stand by. All right, it's there. You want me to? You want to say it's right there? Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay, say something or host it, whatever you want.
The abilities that they're giving Vegeta here are just straight up Wukong's abilities. Or well,
he froze again, didn't he?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You're skipping, but you're back.
These abilities are the same abilities that the gods get in Journey to the West when they practice spirit control, or like the ability to use their chi.
There it is.
To do like crazy magical like abilities. This is literally
Force spirit fission is spirit control.
Yeah.
I like it, bro. I like that. Nathan says there was a Yardrat in the Tournament of Power as well in anime. Yeah, but that was a Yardrat from Universe 2. And that was a big mystery to this day that hasn't been solved yet, is how the hell is there a Yardrat in Universe 2? That is something we may or may probably not know more about in the future. So, this is Paibara. This is the name of this new character who's going to teach Vegeta some tricks and a wealth of techniques. Now, once again, this goes into what we've talked about when it comes to magic and the importance of magic in Dragon Ball. Vegeta is now learning. He's becoming a more well-balanced fighter than you realize. So, MRC says, I think the Yardrats would have been fine against the Ginyu Force. Okay, possibly, but remember, the Yardrats are physically not strong, okay? And the Ginyu Force working together has time freeze abilities. So while you may think that, and yes, there's a possibility that they could have cloned themselves and used Force Spirit Fission. I'm not saying you're wrong. It would not have been a walk in the park. It would not have been a walk in the park.
I would say maybe part of the Yardrats are from the Demon Realm. Maybe the pointy-eared ones that like showed up on the planet. It's possible.
I mean, the blue ones have pointy ears, but they look different than the regular pointy ears. But
yeah, I would say it's more. If one of them was from the Demon Realm, it would be the other Yardrat.
They could also be from their own realm because the magic that they utilize is still very different from the kind of magic we've seen.
I wouldn't even necessarily call it magic because they say right here that the source of all of their abilities is ki. And also, this goes into what we've talked about before in terms of like Earth only being the only planet that calls it ki like the gods. They don't call it ki here. They call it spirit. It is ki, but they don't call it ki. They call it spirit. So,
it's right here. He says, what we call spirit, Goku called chi.
Yeah, exactly.
Spirit control. But it's not ki control in the sense of what we know what ki control is based on the story of Dragon Ball and how you can like learn ki control from training. This is the ability to control ki outside of your own, which is like an advanced version of the Genki Dama, the spirit bomb. You're not just gathering Genki, you're gathering different types of ki from other sources. If you think about it, bro, Force Spirit Fission may actually be one of the most broken techniques in all of Dragon Ball, considering how strong it actually is.
It is very broken. That's true.
If Vegeta masters that, like, with Ultra Ego, it could make him damn near indestructible. When you really think about it, bro. Vegeta fans, I don't think, understand how dangerous he's become in, like, the post-Moro arc era.
Yeah, true.
Strawberry Moon says maybe one of the first from the Demon Realm to learn and master ki instead of magic. Right, I mean, that could be, or it could be that they somehow mix the two. I mean, remember, there's always mixing and matching going on. I'm not sure. Here, I'll be real with you. So if you were to put a gun to my head and say, are the Yardrats from the Demon Realm? I'm going to actually say no, but I think that they might be from another realm. We talked about this, how it's possible that the Omni King and the Angels are from another realm besides the Demon Realm. For all we know, the Yardrats might be too, because they don't really seem like just traditional mortal Neanderthals.
Yeah, they're definitely more advanced than a lot of the other life in Universe 7, that's for sure.
Way more advanced. So they talk about giantification and things like that. I think some folks thought that this giantification thing is like what Goku did later, but it's not the same thing. It would have been cool though if Goku had learned that, like, actually, or Vegeta had learned that, excuse me. So Vegeta wants to learn spirit control for spirit fission. And then in the meantime, Goku goes to train with Merus. Now, I talked about this back when the chapters were first coming out, and I feel the same way now. I love this section of the Moro arc because
too.
Goku and Vegeta are separate, doing their own thing, learning their own things. I remember me and Opie would talk about this a lot, about how these dudes would basically be learning. They would basically be learning. It's not about getting a new form. It's not about like some kind of power up. It's just learning new techniques, and that's where I thought Dragon Ball should go.
Yeah.
Instead of busting out a new form every time there's a problem, use your head. That's what Dragon Ball used to be back in the day, and I wish it'd go back to doing it. And that's why that's one of the things that I enjoyed about this arc the first time around.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Jocko's thinking about bringing Monaka in to help them out. Meanwhile, we go back to Earth. Is this the first time we've seen Earth since like the beginning of
Yeah,
the
it's
arc?
been a minute. Yeah.
So, Piccolo senses that something terrible happened on planet New Namek because the Namekians, a lot of them are dead, and there's a problem. But here come Moro's gang. They have finally arrived on Earth, and unfortunately, a lot of the heroes that were defending Earth, like Goku and Vegeta, they're not there. So we're left with Piccolo, Gohan, and the remaining Earthlings to protect the planet. Piccolo's like, I gotta do something now. The ship's about to land. They have these guns here, like that's gonna work. Piccolo, I actually thought this was pretty cool, bro. Piccolo confronting them, him being the first one.
Yeah, it is.
Shoot
cool.
first without asking questions. Terrible manners for a guest. That's a good line, bro.
Yep. Well, it is cool because he was Kami at one point, right? Like he's got Kami, so he's got the Guardian of the Earth thing going on, and plus it really works with with them like reinforcing the idea of like Piccolo and Gohan being the protectors of Earth, while like Goku and Vegeta go fight gods and like travel throughout space and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And also, Piccolo, they did just get done with the Namekians. So, and Piccolo, even though Piccolo prefers to live on Earth, he still has a connection to his home planet, not just because of Kami's side being the son of Katatsu, but because of Nail. Nail was on Namek for years after they left.
Yep.
So here comes Bulma and Mr. Satan. Always bad timing with Bulma's appearances. And the fight is now going to begin. Again, anytime we see somebody else fighting besides Goku and Vegeta, I get happy. We have whatever this guy. What's this guy's name again? I forgot his name already, bro. That's not Pybara, is it? No, Pybara's the... I'm an idiot. Pybara's the Yardrat. Anyways, he's fighting Piccolo with this energy whip, that's not going to really do shit to Piccolo. They're all going to get the jump on him. We have Miss Fantastic here doing Mr. Fantastic.
Piccolo doing his stretchy thing, which is rare.
That's right. Yeah, well, it's good to see that, bro. Too bad for you. I'm more than used to that move. I love seeing that. We haven't seen that in a long time. He tosses them away. This is cool. Like I have no issue with this. What do you think?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to pace out the arc and also make sure that there's like constant action happening. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. And we get to see everybody else doing it. So they're discussing the fact that Planet Namek is gone, New Namek, and Vegeta and Piccolo are training, so they're going to have to do what they can. Jock goes on his way. The battle is about to relocate to Earth. Did you think it was too soon to go to Earth? I'll be honest, Jordan. Part of me kind of wishes they would have gone to a few other planets first. Maybe they'll add more in the anime version.
Well, they're not on Earth yet. This is
No, they are on Earth. This is Earth.
No, this is this specific little crew who are working for Moro. Moro and them haven't made it yet.
No, you're right. I'm just saying, like, even them, like, I was kind of hoping that they would have given us a little bit more before going to Earth, but I'm also kind of looking at it more from the Dragon Ball Z pacing versus the manga. Remember, Dragon Ball Z was paced much slower than the manga was.
I think the Pui Pui stuff was enough for me. Like, they probably couldn't reference many more planets before I would be satisfied, Maybe if they referenced that one planet that Vegeta destroyed from, like, the Dragon Ball Z filler, I might laugh at that. But.
I mean, I just wish they would have done just a little bit more. I'm not complaining. It's just stuff that I like because I like lore and I like seeing the universe.
I get it. Yeah.
So Jocko says, you Earthlings may be total wimpy weaklings, but all those life forms you've got would make your planet a tantalizing treat for Moro. He'll gobble the place up once he finds out. First of all, I love that Jocko, who's actually a weakling, is calling the Earthlings weak, which most of them are. But the idea is not so much about who's strong, it's about how much life there is for Moro to eat. So again, we're seeing that balance between Ki and Genki. Moro gets stronger using other people's Genki. He's like a walking spirit bomb, and that makes him very dangerous. I've always hated this, right? I think we talked about this, right? How much I hated that.
I hate it too.
I think that's Toei doing that shit, because I don't recall Toriyama ever saying that. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay, I thought something was going on because you were like almost like sniffling a little bit here.
I was kind of irritated. But...
Oh, I see. Well, we're almost done. So Piccolo takes these guys out. Ties them up with rope, like piece of cake, and then don't let them get away, Piccolo. Of course, he did. And because he finds out that who they're actually allied with, then Piccolo tries to blow up the ship. This reminds me of when Rey blasted the ship in Rise of Skywalker with Chewie on it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Chewie, and then it turns out she didn't really kill him. Oh, we got you. Fuck that movie. Okay, this is all like whatever.
So let me tell you guys something really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was doing manga when this dropped. At the time, I was doing Dragon Ball Infinity, and I was doing it
when this chapter first dropped.
Yeah, I think so. 3 months before this chapter dropped, I dropped my design for a hyperbolic time chamber in my manga, and my hyperbolic time chamber was literally a pyramid with 4 pillars around it. And then right after I dropped my manga, this chapter came out, and Toyotaro had a time chamber that looked almost exactly like the one that I designed in my manga. Like, it's kind of crazy how similar they look. I don't have the image like on hand. I should have got it before the stream, but it's been such a chaotic stream. I haven't had time to think about it. But if
you're talking about like with the Egyptian stuff here,
yeah,
in the upper left,
because Dragon Ball Infinity was an Egyptian themed manga, you remember? And if you go read, like if you go read,
I remember that now.
If you go read Dragon Ball Infinity on Derek's website, or hit me up on Twitter or on Webtoon.
It's also in the description here, folks.
Yeah. You'll see that the design for the time chamber that I designed for Dragon Ball Infinity is almost exactly the same as this time chamber, which I've always found so wild. Like, I'm not thinking like Toyotaro saw my design and adapted, but it's just the fact that
don't worry, Jordan. Fans were doing evil Goku for decades before Goku Black came around.
Yeah, the fact that I came up with like this design for like a time chamber, and then like right after it was like literally within like a 3-month span. Like then all of a sudden this chapter came out, and it's like it was so crazy, dude. I remember people were freaking out about it online. They were like, "Whoa, this is crazy! It looks exactly the same." But yeah, check out my manga. You'll see like it's almost exactly the same thing, and it's really interesting and cool. So.
Yes, I actually do remember that now. D Demon says, wasn't there a Sith Lord that fed on living force? Yes, Darth Nihilus in Legends canon. Darth Nihilus was like Moro. He would actually use the dark side of the Force to absorb the power from a planet and leave it a wasteland. And we know that this guy Toyotaro was a Star Wars fan, so there may have been some of that in this, because Darth Nihilus stories, Jordan, predate the Moro arc by like decades, bro. That was, I believe Darth Nihilus was in the 2000s. Here's a question for you, bro.
So when I did Dragon Ball Infinity, I did it with an official manga company called Copy Workshop. And they ended up having their entire workshop flooded. So they lost all their computers.
You mean like literally flooded, like with water?
Yeah, with water, yeah.
Jesus.
So that was the reason that we stopped doing Dragon Ball Infinity. If I ever did do it again, I would want to do it with them. and maybe eventually we will do it again. But that kind of put a damper on us doing Dragon Ball Infinity because it was even though I wrote the story, it was something that I enjoyed doing with them. We were a team when we did it together. So if I ever did do it again, it would have to. It's not just me that would be a roadblock. It's them. I want them to be willing to do it and willing to help me and willing to get back into it. So I'm not going to say it's impossible that I'll never do Dragon Ball Infinity again, but there's a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes that have to fall into place before I can really work on it again. So.
Conundrum says they need to show the Metamorans or their planet in the future arc. I agree. Oh, look, it's my phone. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it's my phone. Oh, I'm not answering that. I know exactly what that's for, bro. I know exactly. That's actually for an appointment that I got coming up next week. But it's one of those. Remember, you have an appointment. It's one of those. I knew
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
That's all it is. Okay, so I did want to address this question right here real quick. Is this the same room of spirit and time that Frieza ends up using? I'm glad you asked that question. I have a video that is already finished. It's just not public yet. That goes into the history of the room of spirit and time, which includes the one that Goku used in Dragon Ball Z, the one that Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan, and Goku and Piccolo used, the one where Gotenks fought Boo. It goes into that. It goes into this one and the one Frieza used to discover Black Frieza. I have that video finished, but it's not public yet. Part of the Dragon Ball Cosmology series. Now, the video's not up yet. It will probably be up later this year or sometime next year because, like I said, I have a lot of content that I'm making behind the scenes. I'm still making videos, y'all. It's just I'm going to drop them when Dragon Ball comes back because then the most eyeballs are going to be on the channel and it's the right time to do it. Jordan and I have at least 2 Sayukis in the can done that are going to go up later this year with more coming. Right, but if you want a preview of this Room of Spirit and Time video, I do have a snippet of it, like 6-7 minutes of it, available for the Patreons. Patreon.com/Geekdom101. Make sure you go there. We have hundreds, not dozens, hundreds of streams where you can watch every single episode of Dragon Ball and most of Z, because I'm in the middle of doing the Z streams. We are now fully caught up, folks. Revisiting Dragon Ball in HD is on the Patreon, along with bonus audio hotlines, along with bonus content, a bonus Q&A that goes out today. There's a lot of stuff coming out on the Patreon, patreon.com/geekdom101. And don't forget that on Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m., we're watching Dragon Ball Z with high definition color correction. And guess what this week is, folks? Goku versus Cell begins this week. You do not want to miss watching that fight with me in high definition at 1 p.m. Twitch.tv/Big D Geekdom101. Jordan, thanks for letting me plug it real quick, bro.
Well, now you can plug that page I sent you. I sent you the design for the time chamber that I...
Oh, from Infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, this guy says, aren't they announced something about the manga on the 19th? No, I don't know who told you that, but the answer is no. Okay, hold on. Let me open this. Give me 1 second. All right. So this was, it's exactly the same. This was, when did you put this out? 2000, do you remember the year?
I can't remember. I think it was 2017. I mean, it was when the Moro arc was running. But
the Moro arc started in 2018, at the end of 2018.
Yeah. So it was around that time. But this chapter came out literally we started on it 3 months before the chapter of Dragon Ball Super came out with the time chamber, but we had it done a month and a half before that chapter came out. So we had this done and out before this chapter of the Moro arc came out. So
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was fake news, Crashmaster. Yeah, so that's the proof right there, bro.
Yep.
It's almost the exact same thing, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Um
Crazy.
yeah, no, it is. That's great. What was I gonna somebody brought something up here. Oh, this guy. He says I have no idea how long I've been subscribed to Geekdom 101. It just hit me. Well, it could be 10 years, 10 hours, or 10 minutes, bro. I appreciate you either way. So
Yep.
yeah, now to answer the question though, I didn't get to answer the question. Look, my video is going to go into more detail, but we do have what I think is enough evidence to show that the room of spirit and time is an alternate dimension and that they're all linked. So I think that this room that Goku and Merus train in, the one that Frieza uses, and the one that's connected to the Sacred Realm where Goku and everybody from Z do it, I think those are all linked. I think they are all linked together. I think, Jordan, and we have enough evidence to prove this, that the Room of Spirit and Time Chamber universe is a giant realm that has multiple access points, kind of like the Sir Warp thing.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. They haven't officially said that in any guidebook, but we have enough proof. So, Moro is training with Goku. Merus is training with Goku using a staff like what Goku used to use. I wish Goku would have busted out the fucking Nyoibo here, bro. That would have been awesome. Dude. See, look, this guy said the same thing. Get out of my head.
I was fanboying out when I saw Merus using a staff against Goku.
Yeah, but I wanted Goku to use it. I wanted to have a stick fight.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah.
That would have been awesome, bro. And I'm sorry, Jordan, but it really is a missed opportunity. I don't care what anybody says, dude. The staff should have got more work in Dragon Ball Daima. And I will say this, dude. And I will, and Jordan, you and I have had history with this dude, and we pick on him sometimes, but I think he was spot on. When JD with the degrees said that he was hoping that Super Saiyan 4 would have been some kind of power with the Demon Realm and the Nyoibo, which would have been a Wukong reference. Can you imagine how amazing it would have been if that's how Goku got Super Saiyan 4 from the bow, going all the way back to the beginning?
I do think it would have been cool if he used the Nyoibo because they do establish in
Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, it is. They do establish in Daima that it's made out of Kachin, so it's basically like unbreakable. So it would have been really cool to see him use it. But in terms of him like getting the transformation from it, I have mixed feelings about that. I actually really like how they did it in Daima personally.
No, it was cool. I'm just saying that the reason why I like JD's idea is because it's even more Journey to the West-ish. Like this whole time, here's the idea. This whole time, for the past 40 years, Goku has had that fucking staff. And he uses it in battle, and then he uses it to help him get from Earth to Heaven by using it to access the Heavenly Realm on top of Karin Tower, right? And then we find out in Daima, 40 years later, that the staff has a demonic origin, and that when the staff is returned to its rightful place, an owner that the staff chooses can unlock its real power, and the real power is Goku becoming Wukong. You can't tell me. You can't fucking... No, stop this. You can't fucking tell me that if they did some shit like that, that you, of all people, you would have had an erection equal to 5 Cialis, 3... not even me.
Yeah, you're right.
You would have had 5 or 6 kids that night. If all this time, 40 years later, it's like, oh, wait a minute. The staff is from the Demon Realm, which ties into the Namekians, which ties into Goku literally becoming Super Saiyan 4, which is Wukong. Super Saiyan 4 is Wukong. So ultimately, it could be a thing where, like, Goku's not the only one that can access the powers of Wukong, but the staff chose him.
Yeah, no, I like that.
You can't tell me you wouldn't have you would have blown a geyser level nut if they had done that, bro. You still be talking about it. We wouldn't even be doing this fucking studio. Remember that episode where Goku used, that's what would have happened, bro.
Well, I definitely would have been talking about it in this scene for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so look, I'll give credit where credit is due, bro. JD had a pretty good idea there. Let's see. Let me address some of these super chats real quick.
All
So
right.
Zacharific says Red Ribbon arc currently is where I'm at on the Twitch series. Aider knocked the daylights out of White. Yes,
Yes, he
Red
did.
Ribbon. I had a lot of fun watching that over again. That arc is criminally underrated by Western fans. Okay, Julius Irving. I think I remember you, but you're not the one. You're not Dr. J from the Philadelphia 76ers. He says, was chatting with Black Bulma. She shouted you out for helping her through her legal battle with Toei. You're a kind person despite what others may think of you. You would be cool if you could have her on a show in the future. Well, first of all, I don't really care what others think of me because most people that talk shit about me are lying anyways, and you shouldn't either. That's number one. Number two, Black Bulma is the homie. We were both dealing with problems. It wasn't Toei, though. I just want to let you know. It was not Toei. It was actually this company in India representing Crunchyroll that was fucking with our Twitch streams. They're not fucking with us anymore. So I guess what we did worked. I mean, I was talking to her during that time. Just do me a favor, bro. Tell her ass that daddy said, tell her that I said that I love her and to start watching the sub already. Because she streams Dragon Ball Z like I do, Jordan, but she watches the dub.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes I'll get in there and I'll like correct some stuff that the dub says, and she'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." You know, she's not a sub hater, but she hasn't fully made the transition over to my religion, which she needs to. So
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. But yeah, it wasn't Toei. That was an issue that we were dealing with, and it was resolved. Yeah, look, Black Bulma's the homie. I don't always agree with everything she says or everything she posts, but she's cool, bro. She's always had my back.
Yeah.
12th Crashmaster says, that's a cool theory. Would mean that if someone got trapped inside, they could theoretically find a way out through another entrance instead of breaking out like Boo and Gotenks. Yeah, but remember, you're right, but remember the idea. When you're in the Room of Spirit and Time, all you see is vast emptiness. So it would take you forever to find another way in. So an eternity maybe, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like Black Bulma, bro. She's pretty thick in the right places, bro. You can tell her I said that. As far as bringing her on, maybe I gotta think about what would be a good topic to bring her on. I do have an idea.
Thing. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Probably like a sub dub discussion.
Nah, because then she'll get no, bro. I don't want her to get killed. I have a soft spot for her, bro. So, but I will say this though. I do want to quickly plug some upcoming super magic shows I got going on. So I want to do one with Jordan about kung fu movies that Dragon Ball fans need to see. I want to do that one with you soon. I want to do Kako Daimon probably a little later in the summer, and I'll explain why. I will explain why to you later.
Okay.
And so that one, and then I want to do one with Black and Fist where we talk about our top 10 favorite filler episodes of Dragon Ball and Z. And then I'm going to do a follow-up with Lance about things the anime did better than the manga. The reason why I even want to do those last two topics, bro, is because when I was in Houston with Black and Fist, let me get your thoughts on this, Jordan, because I've never asked you this question because you and I have been so focused on the manga than the anime. Black and Fist says that he thinks that the original Dragon Ball, not Z, Pilaf to Piccolo, the original 153 Dragon Ball has no bad filler episodes, that they're all good, that he likes all of them. Do you agree with that, or are there some that you do not like?
I mean, for Dragon Ball's tone, I agree. Like when it comes to like how Dragon Ball's like OG Dragon Ball's tone was, it's just more filler friendly. With Dragon Ball Z, the tone would shift to a more Dragon Ball-esque tone when they did their filler, and it wasn't always done the best. You know, I do like some Dragon Ball Z filler, but I guess I understand where he's coming from. Like, the filler in OG Dragon Ball feels like it fits. into OG Dragon Ball. Like it feels like it's a part of it, whereas like a lot of the other filler in like Dragon Ball Z, it's very clearly like added on. You can feel it, like it's, you know, and there's also like lore inconsistencies and stuff that happen as a side effect of it as well. So it's I wouldn't necessarily say that I think they're all good the way that he does, but I understand where he's coming from, why it's different in comparison to like Dragon Ball Z, you know.
Magan says that's why you did the poll about which scenes you prefer. Yeah, in the community tab, I did ask everybody what scenes they like from the anime more. Yeah, I mean, he loves every. Look, listen, I can't say that every single filler episode is better. I can't say that. Or great, I'm sorry. But I do agree with him that most of them are. Like you said, a lot of the training. We've talked about this, bro. A lot of the training with Popo is straight out of fucking Jackie Chan, Jet Li shit. Like, all that shit. So, like, that's good shit. Goku goes to the Demon Realm, the original Demon Realm.
I love when he fights that, like, doll version of himself. I think that's awesome.
And my favorite, which I've talked about a gazillion times, when he goes back in time to meet young Roshi and Crane Master. That's my favorite. And Mutaito, that's my favorite episode of Dragon Ball. Can you please address my time skip question? I didn't get it. I scrolled up and I didn't get it, so you may have to ask it again. Okay, let's continue here. So Goku's training with Merus. Goku's telling him yes to.
Yeah, he tells Merus like what he needs for Ultra Instinct and why he's having problems with it.
Right, and we've talked about this a lot. This is right out of like Jedi training, bro. It's straight out of Star Wars. But if you want to elaborate on it.
Well, I'll elaborate on it when we get to the next volume. But I do think that it's interesting that, like, you know, Goku is revealing exactly what his actual problem is with Ultra Instinct, and then Merus reveals that he has some sort of insight in terms of like what part of this equation he's not understanding. So I am really, really excited to talk about that when we get to the next volume. I don't want to talk about it right now. But
right. Yeah, so here we have here Goku's actually practicing on letting his body move on its own. Here we go, bro, with the Tarble questions. You know about were you here, Jordan, when me and Heesh did the Super Magic Show? We kept getting Tarble questions. Actually,
that's literally what Tarble the Galactic Patrolman is about. It's about
not just that, but I think when you and I did a Mangalorian, we started getting these too.
Yeah, that's true. But
Tarble
I'm working on it, bro. I'm working on it.
Bro, right. Tarble has this group of devoted fans that came out of nowhere, bro. They love the guy.
So this right here is extremely, extremely important.
You know about the dialogue over here?
Yes. Now, this is the main thing that I wanted to talk about in this stream.
Go for it.
So, Merus talks about how emotions can translate to prodigious power. Now, if you don't want to use any critical thinking and think why that's the case, you can just take this at surface level and just leave it at that. But the reason emotions cause huge surges of power is because they send our body into fight or flight. And it causes our body to produce more energy so we can survive a situation. That is the function of our emotions in terms of our body's impact on our brain. So he compares Ultra Instinct to Super Saiyan here. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, they're the opposite, which he does confirm. They are the opposite of each other. But in both cases, and this is why I can't stand the idea of people like saying that Ultra Instinct has nothing to do with emotions, even the silver-haired form. Let me give you like a slight education on what your emotions actually are. Okay, your emotions are your body's impact on your mind. They are not your mind's impact on your body. It is the reverse. Your body registers things before your body can even, or before your mind can even process it. Okay? Yep. So
especially if you train.
Yeah. So what he's saying here,
repetition, folks.
So what happened when Goku became Super Saiyan is he experienced a huge emotional shock, which causes him to become enraged. He embraced that rage, and that rage caused him to trigger Super Saiyan. Okay? Him embracing that rage and that giant emotional shock is what triggered Super Saiyan, because that emotional shock is what causes this huge spike of ki. Okay?
Which is related to the tingly back, but we discussed that before.
Yeah. So the huge spike in ki that they get that propels them into Super Saiyan comes from their emotions and their body physically and naturally and instinctually reacting to a situation that causes them to become enraged. Ultra Instinct still relies on that emotional shock. Emotions are still a factor even in the silver-haired Ultra Instinct, and this is something that people just completely misunderstand when it comes to like what Ultra Instinct is. The only difference is that when Goku experiences this huge emotional shock, instead of letting it consume him, he completely controls it and swallows it. Okay? So he's still getting the huge boost of energy from the emotional shock, but then he takes all that energy from the emotional shock and he controls it and doesn't let it affect his conscious thoughts or his conscious mind. If you'll remember back on Namek, when Goku became a Super Saiyan, he told Gohan, he was like, get out of here while I still have control over myself. And the reason he's saying that is because his emotions are impacting his conscious thoughts and his ability to control himself. So in order for Ultra Instinct to function correctly, not only does he have to have this huge boost in ki, which is caused by emotion, which is caused by intense emotion, but once he feels that intense emotion, he has to control it to the point that it doesn't affect his conscious thoughts at all. So that way he can fight with a clear mind and, master Ultra Instinct. So basically, I just wanted to clarify that Ultra Instinct, despite the fact that it is like a godly technique that is the opposite of Super Saiyan, it still relies on the same sort of emotional stimulation that triggered Super Saiyan. They still have to have that trigger that causes a huge boost of ki before they can tap into, all of that power.
Right there, the technique you're after is the opposite.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, and we're not there yet. We are gonna revisit this when we have Goku essentially take his emotion and apply it to Ultra Instinct. We're gonna get to that later. That's not till the actual fight with Moro happens. Emperor Drago, I read this, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not trying to avoid the question. I couldn't understand what you were asking. The kame of the technique is inaccurate. I don't know what you mean by the kame of the technique. Please rephrase the question.
This guy says emotions are the products of thoughts. No, it's the opposite. Your thoughts are look, when you here's what's just think about this for a second, okay? You may consider yourself a good person. You might be watching this stream and you might be like, "Oh, I'm a good person. I would never do anything wrong." When you're put in a life or death survival situation, your body is what's dictating your mind and the thoughts that you have. Your body's starving and being on the verge of death will cause you to have conscious thoughts that you never ever thought that you would ever have in your entire life. You will start considering hurting people, stealing things. There are things that you would think that you would never
fight or flight.
Yes, there are things that you would think consciously that you would never normally think as a side effect of your body responding to that situation. When you're happy, that's actually your body telling you that you're in a good environment. When you're sad, that's actually your body telling you that you're in a bad environment and that you need to go into a different environment. Your thoughts are not this like super like special thing that's separated from your instincts or like your function as an animal like being. Like the things that you experience in terms of your body are what dictates what your conscious thoughts are. So this idea that we have like this voice in our head that's like completely independent of like our biological functions, like the impact that our body has on our overall physiology is just not true. Like your body has way more control over your conscious thoughts than you would probably be comfortable with, to be honest. Like
I can jump into his follow-up, and we have to move on, but I do want to, I'll jump in. This is similar to what you're saying, because his counter question was, how come people get happy or scared based on overthinking? Well, that's a great point, because you said it yourself, though, overthinking. You said it yourself. What ends up happening, right, and I learned this recently in therapy, right, like last year, actually, because I was going through some shit. So right here, I'm going to answer your question with real life shit. What happens is, as your emotions go up, whether it be anger, sadness, frustration, whatever, your logic starts to go down. And what ends up happening is you go through, if you don't control that, you go through what's called spiraling. Now, there's two different kinds of spiraling. There's spiraling if you get drunk and, you know, like if you take drugs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about spiraling where you do what you're talking about, where you overthink stuff. You think about it as a coping mechanism, but you're literally fighting with your own brain. Like your own brain wants to feel comforted, but it comforts you with the wrong thought. That's why you'll have the thoughts that Jordan's talking about. Oh, I want to kill this person. Or I'll give you an example. I'll give you a real life example. Let's say you go through a breakup and you know that girl's bad for you, but one night you're feeling really lonely and you're horny, or you just feel lonely. You just want to be with somebody. Your brain will start coming up with reasons for you to call her. Maybe she got over it. Maybe she'll forgive me. Maybe she's changed, right? Man, I'm spitting some. This is speakdom level shit right here, bro. So what happens is your brain will start to give you coping mechanisms, but not healthy ones. Whereas the healthy ones should be to avoid the overthinking or to combat against it. Now, this is a little bit beyond Dragon Ball, obviously, but the story, but there's a similarity. In order for Goku to truly master Ultra Instinct, he has to be able to let the emotions, keep the emotions separate from while he's maintaining the form, not when he goes into it. So I don't know if that's a good answer, bro, but basically that's,
well,
did I miss anything?
Overthinking comes from anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's what I'm talking about. And that comes from fear.
And anxiety is a symptom of the body. Okay. My daughter has anxiety problems. She's very, very good at like putting herself in a positive mental mindset to try and alleviate that. But her body is constantly fighting against that. Her body is constantly like trying to push this like anxious feeling onto her because she just has physiological problems in that sense. So the overthinking that you're talking about is a side effect of your body causing your mind to overthink. Your mind is not overthinking because your mind is just overthinking. Your body,
it's another part of the brain. It's literally another part of the brain. Yeah, and just one. And here's a little life hack. All right, this is now we're gonna really be in speakdom territory. All right, I do want to give the folks a life hack here. Okay, because I want to address what he said here. Your brain might start saying she led because of someone else, despite the emotions of fear and dread. He's right. No, listen, you are correct with this statement. Correct. No, this happens all the time, every day. Here's what you have to do in real life. If you're thinking, man, I really miss my ex, I want to call her, but you know that's not the right thing to do. You know that you don't want to open that door again. You have to dig deep and figure out what's really the problem. Is it that you are really missing her? Are you missing who you used to be? Are you missing who you were around her? Are you missing the good times you had? Are you missing the family? Are you feeling low confidence? Because what happens to a lot of guys when they miss their ex, and again, I'm just using this as an example, it comes from a time in their life when they are feeling a lack of confidence that they're not going to find somebody else. So they're like, man, I got to go back to my ex. She's the only one for me. Chances are there's somebody out there better. So what happens is what you're saying is these thoughts become, that's why they're called intrusive thoughts, right? And that happens. Ultra Instinct, you have to put it aside. I'll give you guys, okay, last thing before we get back to the manga, and this is related to Ultra Instinct, by the way. This is related.
It is. Yeah.
When UI was first coming out, it was 2017 when the Golden State Warriors were dominating the NBA, and I talked about how Steph Curry, though he can catch and shoot a three, catch and it goes in. And a lot of him doing that, he's not thinking. It's not catch, okay, position, leg, back, up. No, he's doing it so fast because he's practiced it so many times. That is not his brain doing it. That's Instinct. That is the real life version of Ultra Instinct right there. I was watching a documentary about the Lakers yesterday, Jordan, and they talked about when Kobe Bryant went into depression because he was being accused of like sexual assault or something like that, right? Something that happened, some case in like 2004, and he showed up at a game after court and he freaking dominated the game, right? Like he was doing some of the best basketball of his career. And everybody in there was putting him over like, man, he's so mentally tough. And then one basketball player was like, I don't know how you could be going through what he's going through and actually come out and play like that. And that right there, Kobe Bryant used Ultra Instinct. He basically, all the stuff in his head about his accusation, going to court, facing jail time, he had to move it to the back of his head and say, I'm here to play a basketball and win. Ultra Instinct, all the pain, whatever Goku's going through, his anger, whatever, he has to find a way to control it and focus on the fight. And you want to know who else does that? Professional fighters. How many times have you heard stories? I'll give you a great example, Jordan. In 1990, James Buster Douglas did the impossible. He knocked out Mike Tyson and won the heavyweight title in the Tokyo Dome. His mother had just died. You don't think he's thinking about his mama when he's in there? Of course he is. He's thinking about his mom in between every round. But what do? You push the emotion down. You say, I have Mike Tyson in front of me, dude. I got to get a job done.
Yeah, you can't.
That's literally what Dragon Ball's teaching us.
Yeah, you can't let those thoughts slow you down or dominate or dictate your actions. So he said that there's like a symbiotic relationship between the mind and the body. He's right. Like
he's right. No, and that's part of martial arts.
You're not wrong about that. It's just that the body is all because the brain has to process things physiologically. The body is always going to be faster, and the body and your emotions are the actual reaction mechanism that your body has that causes that effect on your mind. Now, I'm not saying that your mind can't have an impact on your body.
Of course it can.
That's the entire reason that he has to have this sort of control over his mind is because there are thoughts that you will have that will dominate and take control over your body. But those thoughts are still a part of a chain reaction that happens as a side effect of your body first. Your body always, like when you experience something, your body will start to react to that before your mind even has the chance.
It's your natural defense mechanism. It's built in for that. It's built in because many years ago, we were all in the jungles and we had to deal with bears and buffalo and rhinos, and we had to have fight or flight to survive, bro. All right, let me get this out of the way. Emperor Drago says UI isn't a technique, it's a mental state or state of being, and I was asking the accuracy of the name and consistency between the explanation and visual portrayal of the technique. I do not see an issue with UI. I've always felt like UI is my favorite thing Dragon Ball Super's ever added. It's based on something real. We just got done talking about it. We just got done talking about how this applies to real world psychology. Akira Toriyama was a very intelligent man because he was able to take a lot of the Eastern principles, stuff that's been proven through psychology, et cetera, and martial arts. So I have no problem with the portrayal. My only issue with UI, Jordan, my only issue is that every arc they have to come up with a way to kind of prolong Goku mastering it, but they just have to get creative with it is what they have to do. And it's not easy to do. All right, last super chat before we continue the manga. This is the last one here. I've been telling myself now that OG Dragon Ball will always be the best there is. Z doesn't have that charm and grounded characteristics. Watching sub, by the way, and only newcomers. I agree with you, of course, on everything you said. Dragon Ball Z has a lot of great peaks and valleys and has some really big peaks. That's why I'm telling everybody you need to come to the stream on Saturday because Goku versus Cell and Gohan versus Cell is among the best Dragon Ball Z. Maybe not the best, but it's among the best. Were you trying to say something, bro? All right, let's wrap up this chapter, bro. Because the stream's going a little tiny bit longer than I wanted. I think it's good conversation.
Right here,
though.
he says, it will activate when you achieve self-control in the face of a jarring shock to your emotions. Such is Ultra Instinct.
That's literally what we just said.
Yeah. So he's still getting the jarring shock. His emotions are still having an impact on him physiologically, but they're not having an impact on his mind. And that's something very important to remember. And
to be honest with you, accomplishing that, I think, is very courageous. And a lot of the great athletes and a lot of the great, killers, not murderers, like people who, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, these like tippy top athletes, they all have this. All the martial artists, like the UFC champions, they all have this, bro. It's just, and that's what I like about it. It's a fictional, sci-fi, over-the-top version of real-life principles. So Merus knows quite a bit about UI. I wonder why that is. And Goku says he has all the time in the world. They're going to keep training. And now they're in the real Room of Spirit and Time. Notice the entrance looks exactly like the one from Dragon Ball Z.
The design is slightly different, like the color.
No, it is different, but the entrance.
But it is. You're right. Yeah, it's the time chamber entrance. Yeah, you're right.
And that's what I'm saying. I know, Mecha J, I went through this long. But you know what? Me and Jordan explained it before. If we had just gone here first, we would have explained it anyways after. So you would have got the explanation
right.
one
And
way or
plus,
another.
it doesn't matter, man. There's tons of people who have read those words and don't understand what Ultra Instinct is. So it doesn't matter,
I think Drago was talking about hits time skip. I did do a video on that. I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
Again, maybe
check out the video, bro.
Yeah, check out the video because I'm still a tiny bit confused about your question because it's probably not relevant to the manga. So it may be best if you ask it under a different stream, bro, because there's no time skipping going on here. We're just, unless you mean the Room of Spirit and Time. The Chamber of Spirit and Time. He knows about this place. Every day that passes in the outside world gives us 3 days in here. So it's a little bit
differently. Yeah.
A little bit differently. Yeah. Now that to me means that this, now does that mean that this is a different room though? Like that, now maybe I should go back and redo that part of the video because now I'm starting to wonder, you know what I mean?
Well,
because this is different.
Time and space can function differently depending on whatever circumstances you want to set up as a god. So I would say whoever the god was of this previous, because you remember Kami had to in Dragon Ball Super they had to rebuild the time chamber multiple times, and they also had to fly the door to it and stuff like that. So it's very likely that whoever built this version of the time chamber just had it set up to where that's how time passed within it. You know what I mean?
Right. I know, for fair. And also, I just want to say this one last thing about UI. At some point, I'm probably going to do a video going into all of this shit, and it's probably going to be relatively long. I think Ultra Instinct deserves to have a very big explanation, and I think it's going to need one because there's a lot to cover. Even though it's a newer thing than original Dragon Ball, there's a lot to cover.
Goku
all right.
said, I was born ready.
Yeah, I think this is the end, right? Yeah, this is the last pages. So these are the bonus.
Broly.
Right, I was just going to say, these are bonus pages now where Goku mentions to Merus about Broly's. We haven't even seen Broly except for that one page. And we finally see Toyotaro drawing Gogeta, so that's cool. And the fight between... This all happened during the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yep.
So, and they're just kind of telling him about the Saiyan, and that's all. There's not anything too crazy here.
Yeah, they're
it's
talking
cool
about how it's weird that Broly prefers to live on planet Vampa, and Merus is talking about how that's such a nasty environment for him to want to live in. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then 12th Crashmaster says, notice how Merus has the same stance as Whis. Yes, this one right here.
Yeah, Wing Chun.
When does Whis use that stance? Was it in Resurrection?
He uses it whenever he starts to teach Goku about Ultra Instinct in the anime. When he first starts talking about the concept of Ultra Instinct and he starts fighting Goku and Vegeta.
That was Resurrection F. Yeah.
For the first,
right?
for the first time that he really kind of fights them and like gives them the rundown.
He's frozen again. I was frozen today.
I actually posted an interview from the Dragon Ball Super anime staff talking about how, like, all the different styles of martial arts and movies and stuff that they took inspiration from in Resurrection F. They took a lot of inspiration from Bruce Lee movies, kung fu.
Moro said that himself.
Yeah, Yamamuro was a practicing Buddhist monk. A lot of people don't know that, but there's tons of like really cool martial arts references in Resurrection F. But Ultra Instinct itself is cool. So
no, there's a lot to it. I've done like multiple videos on UI. Ultra Instinct Explained, Ultra Instinct Heat Explained, Combat Analysis, True Ultra Instinct. One day I'm gonna put it all together.
Wing Chun was a defensive martial art that this woman created because I think one particular man was trying to marry her that she could not stand. So she like learned how to do martial arts so she could like fight him off. It's a really interesting story if you look into like the actual legend behind like Wing Chun as a concept. Like it's really cool.
Yes, for sure. It's one of the great. I mean, I think you and I should get together and do that stream at some point, and then we can talk more about the movies that like. And they don't have to be. By the way, they don't have to be wuxia. They don't have to be Japanese. They can be American too. Just martial arts films that Dragon Ball fans need to watch to learn more.
Yeah, she was a nun because she was not interested in men at all.
Yeah. Okay, just last thing here. I'm glad he didn't adapt all of Broly. I think it works as a movie. Plus, you have to remember something. Broly was coming out right when the Moro arc was starting. So I think he wanted just to get the next story going, which, boy, do I wish that was the case now, because once again, V-Jump leaks came out yesterday and there's nothing about Dragon Ball Super's manga at all. I have no idea. I did an update on the Patreon about it. Very strange situation, man. I don't know what to think, Jordan, to be honest. It's very strange.
Yeah, well, hopefully we hear something soon.
Right.
Thank you guys for stopping by the stream.
Yep. Next time we're going to go into Dragon Ball Super Volume 12, which that's the beginning of the end. Vegeta finishes his training.
It's one of my favorite sections of the manga, so I'm going to try my hardest to make sure my internet's in better shape before then, because I'm going to have a lot to say in that volume. So
should be a good time. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great one. Take care of yourself, and I'll probably see you either on Saturday on Twitch or maybe later this week, depending on what I got going on. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Check out Jordan's channel in the link in the description and his manga. We'll catch you next time.